us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to install a mailbox.
Let's go.
But there's one critical step before digging.
Wait, what?
Call 811 to have utility companies mark their underground lines. Failure to do so will result in catastrophic gas line damage. This message will not self-destruct, but your yard might if you don't contact 811 before you dig. Visit pa1call.org.
Maybe I should have listened to the home message first.
Ready, set, summer with the Honda Summer Event. With impressive efficiency, sleek exterior styling, and sport-tuned suspension. The Honda Civic and HR-V have all you need to get summer ready with the most fuel-efficient full-line automaker in America. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Shop Piazza Honda of Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, Reading, or Springfield today.
See dealer for financing details. Based on EPA estimate of 2024 large full-line automaker fleet-wide fuel economy. EPA Automotive Trends Report 2025.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The directive issued by HHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen to pause vehicle stops by federal agents following officer-involved shootings in Texas and Maine has been overturned by President Trump. In Maine, the state attorney general's office says it continues to investigate the fatal use of deadly force by federal law enforcement in this week's shooting of Colombian immigrant. ABC's Victor Oquendo says the family demanding a transparent investigation.
Outrage grows over a deadly shooting in Biddeford, Maine, where 25-year-old Johann Sebastian Guerrero was shot and killed, even though he was not the intended target of immigration officers. According to representation for the family, Guerrero had a social security number, as well as work authorization in the United States. DHS says Guerrero entered the country illegally in September 2023, but obtained a work permit in 2025.
The U.S. carried out a new round of strikes today targeting Iran's coastal defense systems. It comes as Iran and U.S. vow to control the Strait of Hormuz. Iran also firing at U.S. assets in the region. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche facing heated questions at a Senate confirmation hearing today. Senators across the aisle asking Blanche about the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files and the DOJ IRS settlement with President Trump that led to the creation of the Anti-Weaponization Fund, which faced scrutiny from lawmakers and the courts.
The settlement fund's just not moving forward. There's no modification. It's just, it never started. No money went from the Treasury to any other account. There's no commissioners. It's not moving forward.
A Senate confirmation hearing also taking place for Jay Clayton, President Trump's pick to serve as the new Director of National Intelligence. In Atlanta, World Cup fans cheering on England or Argentina in the semifinal match getting underway this hour. The winner of today's game will take on Spain in the World Cup final on Sunday in New Jersey. That after Spain beat France yesterday. You're listening to ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
The search for missing boaters in San Francisco Bay continuing after the vessel began sinking yesterday.
The search remains ongoing for 3 victims on board who went missing when the boat capsized. Why the boat took on water remains unclear today. It was a cabin cruiser type boat near Alcatraz. San Francisco Fire Chief Dean Crispin.
Our understanding was there was some kind of memorial service that they were engaging in. That's why they were using this particular vessel. They were hit by a wave or took on water, and the boat capsized.
1 victim died shortly after being found. 20 in total were on the boat. The effort now is to find the missing. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A bipartisan panel in Wisconsin found that the world's richest man likely broke state law when he handed out $1 million checks to voters in the 2025 state Supreme Court election.
The Wisconsin Elections Commission has referred complaints against billionaire Elon Musk to prosecutors, saying there's probable cause he violated the state's election bribery law. The panel points to Musk's social media posts and $1 million checks handed to voters just before the 2025 Wisconsin Supreme Court election. The Brown County District Attorney will now decide whether to file criminal charges. Musk's attorneys have argued the giveaways were protected free speech and designed to promote opposition to what they called activist judges.
ABC's Dave Packer. A 67-million-old T-Rex fossil sold for $50.1 million. The most valuable dinosaur ever sold at auction. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as big wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Weather is sponsored by Ashley Furniture.
It'll stay very warm this afternoon into the evening. Overnight, we'll get down to 76. Tomorrow, hazy and hot, high 95, not quite as humid in the afternoon. Friday, high 93, partly sunny, humidity's going down more. Saturday, high 83, but we may see some showers and thunderstorms.
Ashley's Black Friday and July sale is here with the biggest savings of the summer. Save up to 20%. Ashley pays your sales tax and we'll deliver it all free. Get it all with Ashley's no-interest financing. The Black Friday and July sale, only at Ashley.
This is Edward James Olmos. Did you know that today 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic? That means many of the future doctors, engineers, and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. Learn more at hsf.net. Brought to you by the Hispanic Scholarship Fund and the Ad Council.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
From Jersey roots to the nation's air, she cuts through noise like she just don't care. Truth on the table, no sugar, no spin. If you wanna talk real, yeah, Mary's dialed in. Headlines breaking, but she's breaking it down. While the rest plays safe, she's the best in town. From across the globe to your ride home drive, she's got the facts and the fire live. She'll never waver, yeah, she'll never falter. Turn up the volume, it's time for Mary Walter. It's Mary Walter Radio. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Newman. I appreciate that so much. I'm back.
Yeah, this is my last show before I go on vacation. Even the fill-ins are allowed to go on vacation. We're only allowed to go on when nobody else is on vacation. So I'm actually going on vacation. I'm super excited. This is my last show before we go away, which is yay. No offense, love you, but 6 o'clock can't come fast enough. Coming up on the show next hour, Brylan Hollyhand is joining us. He is the author of a new book, Make America Talk Again, How to Save Humanity from a Screaming Culture. And we're going to talk about a piece that he has in the New York Post about 2 days ago. So he'll be joining us about that. He is Gen Z, and so we're going to talk to him about what he wrote about Gen Z in that piece. And then the last hour, Jay Green joins us. He's from Do No Harm Research. He's the director there, and Do No Harm is a group that studies, medical school and medical school students and policies and procedures and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk to him about the dumbing down of American doctors, because yay, that's awesome. So healthcare may be free, but your doctor's going to be a dummy. So awesome. Fantastic. Again, hopefully I will be dead by the time that kicks in. Although I'm kind of at that age now where my doctors, like the older part of my doctors, are starting to retire. And it's not like the old days when they stayed in forever. Like now a doctor hits 65, gets on Medicare, and they're out. Like they're out. They don't stay in forever anymore. My husband's father was still doing work for the county in his 80s, but they're not doing that anymore. Anyway, I'm at that age when you see your doctor retire and you get the new doctor and you wonder, like I had a new doctor and I went in to go see him for the first time. And I wanted to ask him if his mother had to drive him to work. I know his mom didn't drive him to work, obviously, but it's a culture shock when you're so used to all of your physicians being older than you or the same age as you. And then you get one and you walk in and it's a new guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And they're totally different doctors. They have a total different way of doctoring. But anyway, so we're going to talk about that with Jay Green coming up after the 5 o'clock hour. There's a lot to talk about. I want to see if you guys are interested in this, because I think I did this on another show earlier and the phones just exploded. So I thought maybe the phones we'll get some calls here on 1210 WPHT on the generically named afternoon show. Just you can join us at 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210, or you can tag me in a post on X at Mary Walter Radio. The live cast was last night. It is up on Rumble, YouTube, and Getter. I have not had time to edit the audio to put up on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, but I will hopefully do that soon. In between packing and doing all the good stuff, I will try to get that done ASAP. So you can check it out. Just look for Mary Walter Radio. You'll see a lot of familiar names if you are on the PHT chat on YouTube. Mangle is there, Mangamush, David in South Carolina, and Suze and Dottie and Joe and Sal, and I know I'm forgetting a lot of people, but I appreciate all of you, and I saw some new faces last night, so that was very nice as well. So, all right, let's get to it. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I'm actually excited about this. So it means absolutely nothing's going to happen. This is going to go to the Senate and it's going to die. Tom Cotton has said he's already not going to vote for it, and I'll tell you why. So the House is doing some stuff, and they're getting things done. Mike Johnson's trying to get a lot done. And one of the things they passed was the Sunshine Protection Act. And what the Sunshine Protection Act does is it would allow states to voluntarily observe daylight savings time year-round. Now, if you don't voluntarily observe daylight savings time year-round, I don't know if you can observe standard time year-round. I don't know if that's an option here. Not 100% sure. So Tom Cotton is going to vote against this in the Senate. So it's DOA. He's voting against it because his theory is, which I understand, I get it. He's like, we did this in the 1970s. Like, we did this with Jimmy Carter to try to save energy because of the energy crisis. And so they went to daylight savings time. And I was in elementary school at the time, and I was a walker. So I, walked to school, walked home from school, second grade, there I am. And I remember walking to school in the dark. I remember it. And it's so funny because in the 70s, like, parents didn't care. My mother's like, don't be late, because if you're late, all the kids are going to go ahead of you and you're going to have to walk in the dark by yourself. And I was like, blah. So we had, our little neighborhood, and you walked down the street and you picked up the kids as you went, and we went down. And no adult supervision whatsoever, in the dark, and we went to school. And again, 70s, so parents have no idea if we made it there or not, and just assumed we'd be home at the right time, walk home in the daylight. So that's a negative to it. And there's negatives to both. And half the country's not going to be happy if you go one way. The other half of the country's not going to be happy if you go another way, which is another reason why this will never get passed, because politicians don't have any, they don't have a set, because they just want to get reelected. And so it's not going to go anywhere. Zero hope that it's going to go anywhere. And I'm just reading this now. This is another reason why this isn't going anywhere, and why nothing gets done that we want done. Scott Pressler just put up the Senate calendar. Beginning August 8th, the Senate goes on vacation for 37 days because it's hot. And then it's Labor Day. Like, do you get to just take 37 days off because August is traditionally hot, and then bumps up against Labor Day, and so you get the week after Labor Day off? Why come back? You don't come back on Monday. You might as well come back this following following Monday. And then in September, they're working 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're working 12 days in September. They're working 5 days in August and 12 days in September. This, to me, is the biggest thing we have to address with Congress. This, to me, is the most outrageous and egregious thing we need Congress to address. All right, but I digress. You can talk about that if you want. I don't know how we get it done, but we need that. They got to start working. It's insane that they work 5 days in August and 12 days in September. That's it. That's just egregious. So the House actually did this. They passed a 308 to 117, the Sunshine Protection Act, and you could voluntarily observe daylight savings time year-round. But Tom Cotton says no, because we did this in the 70s under Jimmy Carter. It was a horrific, horrible experiment, went sideways, and I think, I don't know, did some kids get hit by a car on the way to school or something? I don't know. Something happened. Anyway, it was terrible. So he's like, well, why would we do the same thing again? He wants to do standard time year-round and see how that works out. All right? So if you want to jump in, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't care. I want us to just pick one and stick with it. And the people who are whining and crying, no matter which way you go, half the country's going to be whining and crying and gnashing of teeth and blah, my life is terrible, whatever. I don't care. You can. I'm not going to listen to it. You can whine and cry and gnash your teeth all you want and throw stuff. I don't care. We need to pick one lane, and we'll all get used to getting up in the dark, or we're all going to get used to going to sleep when it's light out, or trying to get your kids to sleep when it's light out. We're all going to get used to it. We will figure this out. Or going to bed, it's dark at 7 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. Somehow we'll survive. So I want them to get it done. And to me, it's such a no-brainer. And I think Tom Cotton is right by saying, look, we did the one already, and it was a horrific, horrible failure. So let's do something different. Now, it divided lawmakers of both parties. So this was bipartisan passed and bipartisan not so passed. The members, largely from coastal areas like Louisiana and Florida and New Jersey, supported permanent daylight savings times because they want it later in the day for the beach and the boardwalk and all that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, it's somewhat late now anyway. There's not a lot of people going to the beach and the boardwalk in the winter, light or not. It's just not. The days get longer, the days get shorter, so it's kind of done on its own. And from the Midwest and agricultural heavy states opposed it. They want standard time. You had Hakeem Jeffries opposing it. 22 Republicans voted in opposition, including Zinke in Montana, Hageman in Wyoming, because more agricultural states. Wisconsin, Arkansas voted against it. Let's see. Kat Kamek said, let's stop asking Americans to reset their clocks every March and November. Let's provide some certainty and consistency and a little more sunshine at the end of the day. Now, it's not as much of an inconvenience as it used to be. Like, I'm old enough to remember having to run around the house and resetting, the microwave and the this and that. And we'd sit there and go, how many other clocks do we have? Where else are there clocks? And then you get in the car, and you think you're an hour early somewhere, an hour late somewhere, and you panic. And then you're like, oh, clock did. So yeah, reset the clock with a little, remember you had to get a little thing in there, you push a little button to reset the clock. Now they do it automatically, and your phone does it automatically. So it's like traveling through time zones. Your phone just automatically updates. It's the same thing with your clock, which is scary because my phone knows where I am and knows to update the time. So that's kind of scary. So it goes to the Senate, and they say it's uncertain, but it's not gonna pass there because the Senate is where every good idea goes to die. It's like the when I was full-time in radio, every station I worked at, we used to call the promotions department. That was where every good idea went to die. The promotions director was always like, no, we don't have the money. No. All right. President Trump said he will sign it if it hits his desk. And the other thing is, when we spring ahead in the spring, in March, you have a peak in people having heart attacks. Yeah, it's stressful. It's stressful, especially if you get up really early in the morning to go to work. When I was working morning shows, for at least a week, the morning team would just be walking around, like, consuming large quantities of coffee and walking into walls and trying to make everything work, and it doesn't work. 20 states have already passed, almost 20 states have already approved legislation to make daylight savings time permanent if Congress authorizes it. So there's already 20 states on board to do this. And if you did it the other way and went with standard, those states would be against it. And there's probably 20 more states that would say, yeah, we'll make it permanent. Hawaii does not observe daylight savings time at all. They're like not on board. And then what cracks me up is parts of Arizona. And I want to say parts of Indiana, I think, also don't do it. So you could be in the state and on the other side of the road, it's daylight savings time, but where you're standing, it's not daylight savings time, which is kind of weird. So, there are people who are saying more sunshine, more time with family, more time to enjoy restaurants and shops and everything Florida has to offer. That's great. But then you have parents who say, yeah, but getting my kids up to school in the morning and sending them out in the dark and trying to put them to bed, the younger ones, when it's light out, is going to be a struggle. Now, people who want permanent standard time say it's more light in the morning and it better aligns with your circadian rhythm. And also, with standard time, the sun is at its highest at noon instead of 1 o'clock. Something like that. Whatever. I get them confused because I just want it to end. I just want it to stop. I don't care how we make it stop. I want it to stop. 855-839-1210 is the number. AP NORC survey released in December found that just 12% of Americans favor the current system of going back and forth. Only 12%. We don't want this. But our politicians don't care, and they don't have the guts to make a decision. And you need a bunch of nuns in Congress. You need a nun to run Congress for like a week, and everything would get done and get passed. I'm serious. Like, if you put a nun in charge of the budget, that thing would be balanced in a week. There'd be a lot of yard sales. There'd be a lot of bingo. There'd be a lot of Chinese auctions and that type of thing. But the budget would be balanced in no time. A lot of bake sales. About 50%, 12%'s favor, about 50% are opposed. The rest don't care. 40% had no opinion whatsoever. That's like me. I mean, I oppose it, so I would fall into that camp. But what to replace it with, I don't know. They've also found that more Americans support having daylight saving time year-round as opposed to standard time by 14-point margin. They did pass year-round daylight saving time legislation in 22, but the Senate did, but it didn't clear the House. So maybe it'll go through. I don't know. I don't think so, but whatever. You are welcome to jump in here if you so choose. I would love to have you. Okay, there's, like I said, there is a lot going on. Let's talk about what else they're trying to do in the House. Mike Johnson is cracking the whip. He's doing, I have to tell you, when Mike Johnson first came on the scene, I was like, who is this person? I have never heard of this guy. Who is this? And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with him, right? I'm pretty impressed with him right now. So I think he's trying to get a lot done. So good for him. And he's trying, let's see what he has. He's agreed to pair the State Department funding bill, so funding for the State Department, with the Save America Act. They passed a procedural vote, 215 to 211, to tee up votes on an appropriations bill that'll fund the Senate. Also, legislation to move all this forward, the Daylight Savings Time Permit, which we know they passed through, and a measure seeking to improve veterans' health benefits. Okay, so all sounds good. Boom, boom, boom. Sounds good. So, but he also agreed, as I said, to take that State Department bill, the appropriations bill funding the State Department, and then pairing it with the Save America Act as a way to get it through. It's a procedural way to get it through, because this way, if you want the money, you have to pass the Save America Act. I don't love doing this, right? I don't love this. I wish they would just vote on one thing at a time. But maybe if they worked more than 5 days in August and 12 days in September, they could hold multiple votes. And they could have them vote on just Save America, just the appropriations bill, just this. So we all know what they're voting on. Because a lot of times things get passed that sound great, but then they've got a poison pill in them. And it's terrible. And if you could have taken it out, you would have. All right. And by doing that, a bunch of conservatives that were holding out, and they had shut down the House, remember, Anna Paulina Luna did that. They flipped their votes. They said, okay, because it looks like doing this, it looks like the Save America Act will get passed. Randy Fine was the only Republican to oppose this. All Democrats voted no, because it's a Republican idea. If Timu Obama, Dollar Store Obama, Jeffries there, had come up with this idea for the Save America Act, they would have been in it all the way. Every single one of them would have voted for it. And that means that, oh no, never mind, Senator. The conservatives, as I said, have blocked all major House legislation since last June because they wanted to force a floor vote on the Save America Act and a border security bill. So they're also trying to get done in the House, but they're trying to race to do this because they don't have any time left because they're on vacation all the time. And this is how bad stuff gets passed, because they have to race to get it done. So they hold their nose and vote for something instead of debating it and instead of making a good bill, because they have to get it done before recess. How about you don't take recess? They're trying to get through, put together a third big, beautiful bill, in addition to clearing government funding bills before the September 30th deadline. But they're only working 17 days between in the months of July and August. No, August and September. So they only have 17 days to get it done. So Johnson wanted to attach the Save America Act to the House version of the annual defense policy bill before the July 4th recess, because they had to go away for that too. Even though everything was happening in Washington, they had to go away for that too. But she continued the blockade anyway, and she wrote on social media yesterday, if John Thune strips it out in the Senate, that will be on him, and the entire country should be watching what he does. Yes, but we can watch what he does. We've been watching what he does. And absolutely no one is stopping him. No one's stopping him. So it's on you guys. Chip Roy wants to deliver the border security deal with the birthright citizenship issue. We'll see where that goes. I don't see that going anywhere either. I'm sorry. But most of the good stuff, I just don't see going anywhere. I just don't. And by the time these appropriation bills get passed, there's so much pork and crap attached to them. And so much of the good stuff is stripped out. And that's a problem. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back with something. And if you want to jump in on the daylight savings time thing, 855-839-1210. If not, I give up. If you don't call in on that, you're not calling in on anything, which is fine. It's okay. I'm just joking with you. We have a lot to talk about, so maybe we'll get to more things than we normally would be able to get to. So I've got something coming up that is going to make the left crazy, and I'm so excited about it. So excited. I will share it with you coming up next on 1210 WPHT.
It feels like every day there's something in the headlines that could make you wonder to yourself, is now even a good time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping people get to, through, and beyond retirement for over 28 years, and each week he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., and 5 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
It's bigger, it's better. It's the 4th of July sales event at Tri-County CDJR. This month, get up to 20% off MSRP on select new 2026 Ram 1500 models. Come find bigger deals and better value at 422jeep.com. Available on select models with approved credit. Customers must qualify, plus tax, title, license, registration, and applicable government fees. Offers expire July 31st, 2026.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Have you ever felt like you were living just a B or B plus life? It's so dangerous to live that, more dangerous than a B minus or a C plus life, because when you're living a B or B plus life, you don't change it. You think it's good enough. Is it? I'm Susie Welch. I host a podcast called Becoming You. People think, okay, an A plus life is not available to me, but there is a way. We are all in the process of becoming ourselves. Listen to Becoming You wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
IBM is leading a project in which scientists are using quantum computers to optimize the production and extraction of tritium, which is crucial for the production of fusion energy. IBM teamed with scientists from the Oak Ridge National Laboratory and the Cleveland Clinic to calculate 9 molecular configurations of tritium, with the hope of extracting enough supply of the material to obtain clean energy from fusion power plants. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. Lendseek.com. LendSeek.com.
Hey, Dawn Stensland here. While the sun's out and the summer's in full swing, Kitchen Magic wants to help you fall back in love with your kitchen. They're a family-owned business right in Nazareth, PA since 1979, and for over 45 years, promising high quality and craftsmanship. This summer only, 40% off installation with flexible financing options for every budget. Don't wait for someday. Visit kitchenmagic.com and build something beautiful together. Kitchenmagic.com. Tell them Dawn sent you. you.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Hey, welcome back to 1210 WPHT, the afternoon show. Mike Opelka is back tomorrow. My friend Mike is back tomorrow and Friday. And then I believe Casey is back next week. So I have to keep track here. Coming up, we may be carrying President Trump. He's supposed to be doing a presser with Mike McCormick, I believe. Mike McCormick's people, at least. And I would assume Mike McCormick will be there as well. So if he does, and he's going to be late. We know he's going to be late. All right. But he's supposed to be right now. So we'll cut into that once that starts. All right. 855-839-1210. That is the number. You can also tag me on a post on X at Mary Walter Radio. Okay, so I have to share this with you. So, President Trump's face is in the passport, if you get a new passport, but it's only in certain ones. It's only in the long form passport. You can get a smaller passport, and you get a passport with extra pages, which I didn't know. I just have a passport. And you can get the extra page, and only available if you go to Washington, D.C., to renew or get a passport or renew your passport, and only if you make an appointment. So the odds of you, which I was really bummed. I said to my husband, I should go get new passports with Donald Trump's face, and it'll make so many people mad. So I just want to do that because they take the bait every time, just to trigger a lib. And but you have to go to Washington, D.C., and the appointments are apparently hard to get. But there's another opportunity. Okay. So Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced today that the U.S. Mint will begin striking a new $1 gold coin to mark America's 250th anniversary. Bessent said in an X post that the coin will honor the enduring legacy of liberty and serve as a lasting symbol of patriotism, featuring President Trump. It celebrates the strength of American values and the promise of a nation dedicated to preserving freedom for all. He also shared an image of the coin, and it shows Trump's portrait on one side, the word liberty along the top edge, with 1776-2026 along the bottom, and in God We Trust on the right side. The reverse side features a presidential-style eagle shield design with 250 in the center, and the outer edge reads United States of America, $1. I am so into this now, and it's so funny because my husband, we had a inauguration party, and he was buying all sorts of stuff. We have a cutout giant Donald Trump. We have all this stuff, and this new stuff comes on the market. He's like, "Oh, should we get that?" And I said, "You know what? When he's no longer president, we're gonna have boxes of President Trump paraphernalia. We got a bobblehead Donald Trump. We got all this stuff." I said, you might want to slow down on it. But the funny thing is we never collected anything from any other president. And I will tell you, I think the reason we do it is because if you just leave it placed in the house in a certain, a spot here or there, someone who comes in who maybe a little bit more liberal will see it. Or like a dollar coin, I can use them and they'll circulate, and it's somebody somewhere is going to get it and it's going to make them mad. And if the left did not react the way they do, like so just childish, it wouldn't be any fun. And I wouldn't own most of the stuff that I own. I wouldn't have my Trump t-shirts and my, 45, 47 and fight and all that stuff if I didn't know that wearing it would eventually trigger a lib and have them say something. And then I just laugh at them. I just laugh. Because they take the bait. They can't help themselves. That's how much they're just so mentally unstable when it comes to Donald Trump. So now I have to get these. Now I need one of these coins. I need one. And I don't know if they're going to go into circulation, if you're supposed to hold on to them. I have no idea. But I guarantee you we will have one or two of these in like a little plastic thing. And my husband will keep it. And I don't know why, because I'm sure that our nieces and nephews are not going to want any of it at all. But, I keep telling them, a lot of stuff that we have is not worth anything now. You think it's worth nothing, but 20 years down the road, it's probably going to be worth money. You should hang on to it. So I'm so excited. So you too can trigger a lib just by getting yourself a Donald Trump gold coin. I have some I may actually give that to for just, gifts here and there. Just as like just a fun thing. All right, let's see. This is important. I want to get into this because this is important. At least I think it is. And there's no coverage of this at all, of course, because the mainstream media is not going to cover this at all. However, this is another one of those, well, if Trump did it or someone in the Trump administration had done this, it would be nonstop wall-to-wall coverage. It's exactly what it would be. Listen to this. So Chuck Grassley, by the way, we talk about term limits and people are like, I need term limits. I need term limits. We need these people, which term limits I'm fine. Like you have to leave and then you have to miss a cycle. And if you want to come back in and run again, you can. But Chuck Grassley is the reason why I don't think we should have age limits. Now, Mitch McConnell, Dianne Feinstein, yes, we should have age limits. But like Chuck Grassley is totally, he's got all his marbles and they're all rolling around in the right direction up there. Like he's totally with it. If you ever speak with him, and when did I see him? 2021. I saw Chuck Grassley. I had breakfast with. Yeah, I saw him in 2021, and so it's been a couple of years. And when you're that old, you can definitely lose a step very, very quickly. But I don't think he has. And when I saw him in 2021, he was not young. And by the way, don't ever sit on his right side. Can't hear you. But. I think he's still got it going on, and he's the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's the chair, and the DOJ just released records to him and to the committee yesterday that reveal what Jack Smith's special counsel office had been up to. It seems that they had accessed communications between the Trump White House personnel and 44 lawmakers from both parties. Now, I'm wondering if this was done because they figured that Trump will never be president again and this will be kept under wraps. It'll go in a burn bag and someone will burn it, and maybe somebody didn't. Maybe this did go in a burn bag and that person didn't burn it because we know Kash Patel found several burn bags that were never burned. So, Cory Booker, Adam Walsh, the current who is the current ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee, Karen Bass, Lee Zeldin, so 3 Democrats and a Republican, were just some of the names whose messages were seen. Grassley, Susan Collins, Tom Cotton, Steve Scalise, Elise Stefanik, also targeted. Now, here's the rub. And this is what he was counting on. And this is what's interesting because Trump was president when he said this. In December, this past December 2025, he was in front of Congress under oath in a deposition. And he was asked whether his team looked at the content of text messages during his probes into the 45th and 47th president, because he had 2 into Trump. And he answered no. Whether he or his team looked into the context of text messages. He said no. We now know that's a lie. And the statute, I can't imagine that Grassley and the DOJ is going to allow the statute of limitations run out on this. Ron Johnson said in a statement, "This is yet another grotesque example of the Biden administration's weaponization of the Justice Department. At this point, no one should be shocked by Smith's recklessness and blatant abuse of power, but they should be outraged." All right, Trump is speaking, so we're going to go to Trump. All right, we're going to take a break here. We're going to go to President Trump and see what he has to say.
Looking for an auto repair shop you can actually trust? McCullough's Auto Repair has been serving Delco since 1999. They believe honesty, fairness, and friendly service still matter. Chuck and Ralph run the place. No matter your car's issue, they'll explain it in plain English and help you decide what really needs to be done now and what can wait. Chuck's motto is, "I'll never steer you wrong." Call McCullough's at 610-446-1230 and ask for Chuck or Ralph, or visit McCullough'sAutoRepair.com.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
This year, America celebrates 250 years, 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
All right, what's the weather like out there?
It's hot, 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 real hot.
Can you tell me what it feels like?
Were you born on the sun? I said it's hot.
This is Jonathan Cans, third-generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. Is this how you're feeling right now? Well, don't let your house feel like a rainforest anymore. To keep your home cool, contact us at marvinecans.com. That's marvinekanze.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Free speech lives here. With Dom Giordano, weekdays noon till 3 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
It's being properly run. They have oil. They have so much oil. You find the oil there, Pete, you just look down on the ground and you say, oh, that's oil. Just drill it. There's very few places that have anything like that. But we have a great relationship with the leadership. We've worked with them very closely, and we're bringing all the big American companies in, and it's been very much of a miracle. Millions and millions of barrels a day. The spirit of our armed forces is the highest it's ever been, with every branch setting records for recruitment. And I will tell you, during the campaign, when I was running against Kamala, she had no clue, but Joe had no clue either. That's why they got him out of there. I had to run against two people. Everyone else runs against one person. You do well. Joe wasn't doing too well. He was down like 28 points. So they said, let's replace him. That's like replacing a fighter. You're doing great against the guy. I said, let's put somebody else in. Fortunately, she wasn't much better than he was. And somebody said she's leading in the polls. That's not possible. But if she is, that's fine. You got to go out. You got to win. But what's happened with the election, this was an amazing election. Think of it. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by a lot. We won 82%, 87% of the counties in America. That's a big one. We won the Electoral College. We won everything. But all 7 swing states, the big thing was, could anybody ever win all 7? We won all 7 swing states, and we won them by a lot. So it was a great, great achievement. But when it came to joining the military, we had vacancies, empties. We had a situation that actually it was remedied largely, Pete, I think on November 5th when we won. It was even before we took office. It was remedied to a certain extent, and when we took office, so now we have overflow crowds trying to get into the military, and that includes our policemen, our firemen, anybody with a uniform on. They were very ashamed of our country, and now they're very proud of our country. And we're setting recruitment records like we've never had before. In fact, it's a great time if you want to expand the military a little bit. It wouldn't be bad because we have unbelievable talented, in good shape, in unbelievably good shape. You know, we had something pass in the United States Supreme Court. It was called merit, and nobody thought that was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen, actually. We're trying to get it. And everything now in our country, again, is based on merit. Getting into colleges is based on merit. When you have somebody with great boards, great marks, all A pluses and A's and the highest board marks, and then doesn't get it because somebody with far less capability gets in, it's nasty, but it's, you know, our country was built on greatness, and it was based on success. It was based on merit. And now we have that, and that includes the military. And the people that we have in this military, you can send most of them to Hollywood, and they could become like movie stars. They are unbelievable, and you saw that in Venezuela. I met them backstage, and these are people that are. It's a whole different ball game. So I just want to thank everybody. That was a decision. That was a tough decision to make. And it took courage to make that decision. Nobody thought that was going to be made, but they gave us back our beautiful merit system, and now the best people get into the best positions, they get into the best schools, they get into the military. We actually have strong people going into the military now as opposed to people that aren't strong or that shouldn't be there. And it's like, I call it central casting. Washington, D.C., we're using the military in there, and our crime rate's down 92%, and it's gone from an unsafe city to one of the safest cities, the capital, one of the safest cities anywhere in the country. Restaurants are booming. The restaurants were all closing. People were afraid to go to a restaurant. We took out over 5,000 criminals. We got them out of here. We got them, sent them back to their country. Many of them came through the Biden open borders, which was insanity. We got them out of this country, and we did a real job in Washington, D.C., and I will say Memphis is a similar kind of a thing, a little bit. We started it a little bit later, but they're down in crime 78%. And New Orleans, Louisiana, the governor called me up, Jeff Landry, great guy. He called me and he said, we have a problem. We have the Mardi Gras coming up, and this place is loaded up with crime. And we sent in the National Guard and others, and it was the safest, that is on record, the safest Mardi Gras on record. They've never had anything like it. He called me two days later. He said, I've never seen anything like it. It's a terrible expression. He said, nobody was killed. Well, that doesn't sound so good to say, frankly, in one way, but in another way, many people would be killed during Mardi Gras consistently, and now it was the safest they've had, he said, in 67 years, so it's pretty good. But we're going out for the $1.5 trillion this year, and I think we're going to be able to get it. and we're going to get it because we have so much money coming in. The tariffs have made this country so rich, and they've made this country so competitive. In order to not pay tariffs, people are coming out and they're leaving Mexico, and they're leaving. In fact, it was just announced that Toyota is leaving Mexico. Toyota is going to build one of the largest plants in the world, car plants in the world, in Texas. But many companies, they left us and they went to Mexico, Canada, Japan, Germany. They went all over the place, South Korea. They're all pouring back. The car plants, the AI plants are all coming back. If they don't, they have to pay taxes. The chips, we had this ridiculous CHIPS Act where you give billions of dollars to a company and they didn't even know what the hell to do with it. You give them billions of dollars, they say they're going to build. Nobody knew what to do with it. And of course the standards were so high. If you weren't transgender, as an example, you didn't qualify. So they get the money, they'd look all over for transgender people to run the company, large portions. They couldn't find them. They weren't into the chip making business, I guess, right? They had other things on their mind. But this was the Biden fools, those idiots that almost destroyed our country. But we're also reasserting the fundamental truth: to be a strong nation, you must be a manufacturing nation, manufacturing jobs. When you see these plants start to open, so we're building now at a record that we've never even, I don't think any country's ever approached this record. Again, we have $19.2 trillion being invested, and there's never been anything like it. You go back years and years, and it's China had the record with $3 trillion, and we're at $19.2 trillion. There's never been anything like it. These are going to be starting to open in 6 or 7 months. I mean, it's unfair because, you know, whoever the next president is going to be sitting up here someday and say, what a great job I did. What a great job. I did the greatest job, Jamie. He's going to be talking about what a brilliant president he is. And I'll be home and I'll be saying that, son, like, because we did the job. We did the job, and we're clearing every obstacle to building the defense industrial base. And so many people, I was shaking hands backstage, they just came up and they said, we couldn't even function 2 years ago in this country. We couldn't get anything built. We couldn't get approvals. We couldn't do anything. And now we cannot imagine the change. They said 5 or 6 of the people are building defense-oriented things. They said, we have no idea how this has happened to this extent. He said, we look forward to going to work. We get our approvals fast. We came up with a concept like on AI and other things that are big. Rather than going to our old, very old and fragile grid, we maintain it, but it's old and not up to date. It was let go by a lot of people that were in my position. They shouldn't have done that. But I came up with the idea to let them build their own power plant. So they're building their own power plant. So, you know, people would complain about the grid, but actually they're giving their excess electricity back into the grid. It's a phenomenal thing. But they're coming up with power. They're doing their own. They're really becoming a utility. They're becoming, actually, in addition to AI, they're also becoming utility. And they're building some of the greatest power plants anyone has ever seen. We don't want wind because it's terrible. Doesn't work. These countries that go to wind, you go to wind, you lose your way, you go out of business. Look at what's happening in the United Kingdom. Wind all over the place. Doesn't work. Too expensive. Everything's made in China. And remember, you have to replace them after 8 or 9 years. You know, it's wonderful if they were there, but you got to replace them all the time because they wear out. The salt water kills them. It's ridiculous. And we have the oil and gas. We have a number of people back there with the nuclear. Nuclear is hot. It's become safe. And we got to keep it safe, but it's become safe. But we have tremendous new things happening, and some of these power plants that are being used for AI and other things that they're building are so far advanced from what you're used to. When you look at Con Edison, you look at the old companies, it's fine. They get the job done, but these are tremendous advancements that nobody would have ever come up with except for this group of seriously brilliant people. After decades of foreign countries ransacking Pennsylvania and all of our country, they ransacked our country and stealing our jobs, I imposed historic tariffs to protect the American copper, aluminum, steel, and many, many other projects like cars.
All right, the president there said that there will be an investment of approximately $10 billion in Pennsylvania's industrial base. to bolster national security and bring in thousands of manufacturing jobs to Pennsylvania, which is great news since the manufacturing sector has been somewhat gutted in Pennsylvania. He's estimating more than 4,000 jobs. All right, coming up, Brylan Hollyhand will be joining us after the top of the hour. We're going to talk about Gen Z and how all may not be lost. That's coming up next here on 1210 WPHT.
The working families of La Una Labor's District Council of Pennsylvania, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia are proud contributors to all aspects of growth in this great city. The Labor's District Council provides safe, well-trained, productive workers who enable projects to be done on time and under budget. We appreciate our signatory contractors and their commitment to fairness and equality. Laborers, we're building a better future today.
Brought to you by the Laborers District Council Licit Fund.
People ask, is PNC just a boring bank? Well, that depends. Is starting a business boring? Or being the first person in your family to go to college? For nearly 160 years, they've done the hard and occasionally boring work of banking to deliver brilliant results for their clients. To see what boring banking can do for you, stop into any of their local branches right here in the greater Philadelphia community. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association member FDIC.
Attention! This is a pesticide exposure alert. The pesticide chlorpyrifos, used as an insect repellent, has now been linked to neurodevelopmental disorders in children and Parkinson's disease. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with a neurodevelopmental disease after being exposed to chlorpyrifos, you may qualify for potential compensation. Visit govictory68.com now to see if you qualify. Across the country, pesticide manufacturers have already faced multi-billion-dollar lawsuits and settlements over alleged health risks. Now, people exposed to chlorpyrifos are taking legal action, alleging this pesticide caused serious neurological injuries in both adults and children. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with a neurodevelopmental disease after chlorpyrifos exposure, don't wait. Strict filing deadlines may apply. Visit govictory68.com today to see if you qualify. Go to govictory68.com. That's govictory68.com.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services by the Goldwater Law Firm in Phoenix, Arizona. Primary legal services performed by co-counsel law firms. For additional disclaimers, go to goldwaterlawfirm.com.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it, so can you.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Alcoholics Anonymous. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There is a solution. You can find us at aa.org.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all, not one bill. Your focus is supporting this child. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Hostilities between the U.S. and Iran intensifying again today. The U.S. military launching a second round of strikes against Iran targets, and Iran's regime says it's also targeting U.S. assets in the region. ABC's Lama Hassan says the U.S. naval blockade is also back in place.
Democrats have long criticized Todd Blanche, a former defense attorney for President Trump.
In response to the blockade, the IRGC threatened to stop all energy exports from the Middle East and say that the export of oil and gas from the region will be either for everyone or no one. Key confirmation hearings taking place on Capitol Hill today. Those hearings include Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, now the nominee to become the permanent AG.
Democrats have long criticized Todd Blanche, a former defense attorney for President Trump, for allegedly still treating Trump like a client. During an exchange with Senator John Kennedy about his friendship with Trump, Blanche might have given fuel to that criticism with a verbal slip-up.
Are you and President Trump friends?
I'm his lawyer, was his lawyer, and now I'm the Deputy Attorney General.
Blanche attempted to clarify the gaffe, claiming he's disagreed with the president and would refuse to do anything illegal at his direction. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Former Deputy Surgeon General Erica Schwartz, and now nominee to lead the CDC, also faced questions during her confirmation hearing. GOP Senator Bill Cassidy, who's also a doctor, asked Schwartz if she would act independently on vaccines and also follow the science.
Will you have the ability and the firmness to stand up to that political meddling
to say, no, that's wrong and this is right.
Chairman, you have my assurances that I will continue to lead by my integrity. I will never compromise on the science. I will always have the public's health in mind.
You're listening to ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
Michigan officials issuing air quality alerts across the state due to toxic smoke from more than 800 wildfires burning in Canada. An orange haze impacting people in Minnesota, too, with fires there, along with Niagara Falls. In the Southwest, extreme rainfall is the threat. Parts of central Texas getting hit once again, with flash flooding the concern. California's Department of Motor Vehicles notifying more than 10,000 drivers in the state that they may be required to a redo on their qualification testing after some answers raised red flags.
Thousands of drivers here in California are being told they have to retake their written driving tests because a DMV suspects them of cheating. The DMV sent around 11,000 drivers letters saying their tests showed irregularities. The LA Times reports that the DMV identified patterns in the results of driver knowledge tests indicating that some test takers may have taken part in cheating methods. The DMV won't confirm that or explain more. An unspecified number of those cases have been referred to prosecutors for possible charges, according to the LA Times. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In France, a bill allowing adults with incurable illnesses to receive lethal medication was given final approval by the country's National Assembly. It follows a 3-year effort to finalize the framework and clear legal, moral, and religious hurdles. The bill sets strict conditions for medically assisted suicide. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
From Jersey roots to the nation's air, she cuts through noise like she just don't care. Truth on the table, no sugar, no spin. If you wanna talk real, yeah, Mary's dialed in. Headlines breaking, but she's breaking it down. While the rest plays safe, she's the best in town. From across the globe to your ride home drive, she's got the facts and the fire live. She'll never waver, yeah, she'll never falter. Turn up the volume, it's time for Mary Walter. It's Mary Walter Radio. Let's get into it.
Thank you so much, Newman. You're the best. Yes, I am Mary Walter here on the afternoon show on 1210 WPHT. If you want to join me, 855-839-1210 or tag me in a post on X. All right, our next guest is a great guy. You're going to hear a lot from him. I said this to him years ago. Brylan Hollyhand. He is the author of a new book. You can find him, by the way, Briley Hollyhand, and it's Briley, and then Hollyhand, one word, .com, BrylanHollyhand.com, or on X at Brylan Hollyhand. A new book came out yesterday, Make America Talk Again, How to Save Humanity from a Screaming Culture. And that's what it is. I feel like I'm constantly being screamed at all the time. I mean, it's just crazy. So, Brylan, welcome to the show, and congratulations. Is he there? Brylan.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I'm a big fan, so I'm excited to be back.
We've spoken many times, and I'm a fan of yours as well. I've told you before that you're going places, and I can't wait to see how your career unfolds. And you just recently had a piece published in the New York Post as well, and that's the first thing that I saw. And then I saw about the book. So congratulations on that front as well. Where are you still in college? You're still in college. You're still in college now, right?
I just finished my freshman year of college. I got a little bit ahead of me.
See, so when I was first talking to you, you were like a freshman in high school, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm journey.
Yeah, you started out early. So just tell everybody, I just get a little bit of background for people who don't know you. I know you, I know your story, but how did you become so politically involved when there are so many adults who don't even know what's happening in the world? And it started early for you, like I said, high school, probably junior high you were doing this. How did it start?
It was even earlier than that. It was actually elementary school. So I was in the 4th grade, and I remember watching one of those 2016 Trump debates. And I was like, this guy's different. Like, he's actually has some guts to speak up for what real Americans need. And I just wanted to cover it. And I didn't feel like it was getting accurate coverage. I can't get a news show, a radio show in the 4th grade at 11 years old, but I could start a podcast. And so that's what I did. It's probably the first few episodes got maybe 5 views on a good day, which was everybody that sits around my Thanksgiving table probably. But we had a lot of fun. And the very first ever guest that I could ever get on was my mentor, Charlie Kirk. And I reached out to the city council members locally. I reached out to the local mayor. Nobody would come on. And Charlie Kirk gave me 30 minutes, and that inspired me to keep going. And it's been a decade of doing the show, and it's been a lot of fun.
It's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. I remember when Charlie Kirk, because I was like, wow, who's this kid? And Charlie Kirk was on a show, and that really brought you to the fore. I mean, what a wonderful gift from Charlie. And that was the beauty of Charlie Kirk, is that nobody was too small for him. And I love that everybody got Charlie's time if he could give it. If they asked and he could give it, he would. And that to me was just such a wonderful thing about Charlie, because it helped foster, I think, what I see as a movement coming up, because you're Gen Z, right?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So Gen Z is, especially the young men in Gen Z, that movement of, no, your masculinity is not toxic. Just because you are male doesn't make you bad. Just because you're white doesn't make you racist. It doesn't mean that if you're a white male that you didn't earn anything. Like he took those talking points, and he saw your generation as, I think, struggling. And rightfully so, because of all of the junk, the messages you were being fed. And he said, you know what, I'm going to talk to these kids. I'm going to talk to them, and I'm going to help guide them and give them that guidance. And I think he did a wonderful job, obviously, and you're living proof of that. I want to ask you a question, though. The young men in your generation really are moving towards the right, if not the middle. They're getting away from the stuff they've been fed in school. And you talk about that in your New York Post article. You say, for years my classmates and I have been taught that rebellion means rejecting everything that came before us. You question authority, you tear down institutions, like everything's bad. Challenge traditions, America's bad, everything's bad about it, everything has to be torn down. And that's what you were always taught. Was Charlie the impetus for you to start questioning that stuff that you were being taught?
Absolutely. It was the first time we'd ever heard that. It's kind of like during COVID when you started asking questions, you realized that you weren't supposed to challenge the norm, and then all of a sudden the dam broke and you could just see everything exposed. when we started asking questions about why capitalism was bad and they couldn't answer it, the dam broke and we saw that it was actually socialism that was bad. I think the Democrats made a big miscalculation that they're going to suffer for. They lectured my generation, and they specifically called white men's masculinity toxic. They called young men wearing MAGA hats Hitler Jr., and they paid the price. They lost in 2024 because of it. And I think a lot of that has to do with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk reaching out to Gen Z. The Democrats use TikTok. They use social media as a whole as a weapon to ostracize young men that were supporting Trump. And Charlie Kirk used that as a tool, as instead of a weapon, to bring us all together behind one rally mission. And I absolutely, fully feel confident that Charlie Kirk is one of the main reasons that Donald Trump is sitting in the Oval Office this evening.
100%. 100% agree with you. And I also think the assassination of Charlie Kirk also flipped somewhat of a switch in your generation. I think that's that pivotal moment. Like, each generation has its pivotal moment, whether it was the Challenger blowing up, or it was the Berlin Wall coming down, or there was something in your generation that you all experienced together. And I think that was your thing, that you all experienced together, because he was an icon to so many in your generation. Like, he knew how to talk to you and influenced so many in your generation. Let me ask you about the young women in your generation. Are they starting?
I think a lot of them are waking up.
Yeah, that's
Finally.
what I want to know. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're right. You're on. I think a lot of them are starting to wake up. It's been a lot slower, and I think a lot of them are starting to questioning some of this idea of they should never get married, that they should never have kids. That is somehow feminizing to be the old fat lady at 90 years old, still holding your feminist flag at the No Kings protest. And that's the epitome of a woman in America today. And they actually want to have big families and marry young and live out these Christian morals and values. And they are kind of concerned that the left doesn't embrace that. Kind of like how Walz was, who was supposed to be a image bearer to win over young straight white men on Kamala's campaign. Kamala also wasn't too big of an image bearer to win over young women, so they had to bring in Taylor Swift and Beyonce, and we saw how that worked out. It didn't help her at all.
Yeah, no, it's so funny watching the left try to find a masculine male because they realized they've alienated them all, so they got a Nazi. You know, that was their solution this time around with Plattner. They're like, well, he's a Nazi, but you know, he's our Nazi, so it's okay. Let's talk about your book, Make America Talk Again. By the way, this is his second book. He pumped one out in 2024. So every other year, Brown's putting a new book out, plus doing all his tours, his media tours, plus going to all the Republican events and going to college at the same time. So that's only made for the young. You can tell you're young, because people my age are like, oh, hell no. I don't have the energy for that. So your book in 2024 was One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom. I'm talking about what we're talking about now, but the new book is Make America Talk Again. And I think this is important, you know, and the subtitle is How to Save Humanity from a Screaming Culture. And that's what we've turned into. We've turned into there's no conversation. The left, I think, because they're so emotionally driven, if their ideas or their feelings are challenged, they just scream at you and they just shout you down until you walk away. Let's talk about that. How do we get past that and get Americans back talking again?
I think the very first step is understanding the first thing I say in the book, or the first thing that I say on a campus tour when we're debating with the students. Understand and have the courage to be booed. And people look at me and they're like, wait, what do you mean? You just told me to get involved in politics, but you tell me I'm going to be booed. Yes, you are going to be booed. That's true. Don't let it stop you. Know going into it that you're going to have people that will absolutely try to shut you down. Miss Mary, if I stopped talking every time I got a death threat, or every time somebody said something mean or hurt my feelings, you would never hear from me. The reason that we have a book every 2 years in between homework and a media tour, and I spend my summer up in New York, but I got to get back to class when school starts in August and still debate on campuses, is because you grow a thick enough skin that nobody can hate me more than I love this country. And if every single person in your audience walks on the front lines of this battlefield understanding that there's not a thing you could do, a thing you could threaten that would make me be quieter, they're eventually going to lay off because they realize that they can't get to you.
See, and you know what? The other thing you do, and it's the way you were raised, so kudos to your parents. I mean, your parents have done a fantastic job raising a wonderful young man who's going to grow up into a great husband, father, and a great asset to society, in my humble opinion. But you know, that you kind of kill him with kindness. You don't take the bait. And I think that's the difference between the left and the right. I was saying earlier how there's this Trump coin coming out, $1 coin for the 250th. Normally, I would not buy that. But I know if I buy it, I could possibly trigger a lib somewhere along the way, because I know that they can't help but take the bait. Like a normal person would just say, oh, it's just $1 coin, and they throw it in the till. But they'd see Donald Trump's face and they lose their minds, right? So when you kill them with kindness, I have found you don't give them that fight. You take their ability to respond the only way they know how, which is yelling at you and calling you names and threatening you. That's the only way they know how to respond. And when you take that away from them, right? You take that away from them, you kind of get back to the talking thing, don't you?
Correct. And this is what really disarms them. Every single time that I'm debating on a campus, we did 10 debates on 10 different campuses last year alone. Every single one was hostile. Every single one had enough death threats to cancel it. And every single time we pushed through. And every time a person walked up to the microphone to debate me that looked like they might start screaming, start running towards the stage, and they were already kind of hurling their insults, whatever, as they're walking up, the first thing I would do before they think I would scream back or before I would launch back at them would say, hey, man, it's like, I'm Brylan. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Try to say, hey, we're both Americans. We're both humans. We're both, made in the image of God. Let's make a connection here as humans. And two, I would be like, oh, I love that shirt. Or that's the really cool, Bama hat you got on, or make some sports connection that we could, bond on, to try to show them, hey, I'm a kind human being despite whatever nastiness you're about to spew out into the world. And every single time they would kind of stop for a second. It didn't mean they weren't going to threaten you or hurl an insult, but it would make their brain tick of like, I'm about to say this to a human. And sometimes they would stop and sometimes they would keep going if they're a heartless person. But every single time, that kill them with kindness method put it right there in their mindset of whatever you're about to spew at me, you already see what mood I'm in, and it's not going to stop me. And they want to put you in a bad mood. They want you to go cry in the corner. They want you to be silent. They thought that coward that executed my friend from that rooftop last September thought that he silenced our movement. And if anything, he only made us louder and started a revival instead of a funeral.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I just want to just quickly read, I know you're up against an out here because you have another interview, but, the dedication is to Charlie Kirk, and you say, like most kids in America, I grew up watching your videos. I never dreamed of the day I'd not only get to meet you, but also learn from you and have you as a guest on my podcast. What I didn't know that day was that I had met my mentor, who would walk with me through my career, offer feedback after seeing me on TV, text me encouraging Bible verses, and strategize with me about my future. In a business surrounded by vipers, you were a true friend. I keep trying and failing to wake up from this new world like it's some bad nightmare. On behalf of my entire generation that you practically raised, Charlie, thank you. This book is for you to pick up where you finished your race. I hope it would have made you proud. May your legacy be a long-term revival rooted in your courage for your faith. That is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. So I guess my last question to you, I have a question and a statement, but my last question to you would be, when it comes to these campus tours that you're doing to try to, do you see the people your age being open-minded to the idea that maybe you're right?
Yes, thankfully. And I think a lot of that is the groundwork that Charlie laid. If Charlie made this movement about himself, and if this was the Charlie Kirk movement, it would have dissolved after his passing. This was a movement that he made bigger than himself that could go on past him. And I think that's the only reason this has survived, that young people are finally questioning things. They're finally seeing that, hey, if we're growing up in a world where 2 years ago this week Trump was shot in Butler and 10 months ago Charlie was killed in Utah, we don't want to live in that world. And they might not agree with me on every single talking point or every single economic policy, but they might be able to look at me and say, you didn't scream at me or try to shoot me, so I'm at least going to have a conversation with you. That's progress. And I'll be honest with you, writing that forward that you just read, I haven't been able to read out loud yet without getting emotional, so I'm glad that you read it. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of all of this, this was hard, and it still is really hard. But starting this book, starting the campus tour, I was angry. I was angry at the world. I was angry at God for taking Charlie. And I had to get to a point today where I will never understand why Charlie took my friend from this world on September 10th. I never will. I can think of a million different ways that the Lord's will could be done other than that. But how selfish of me to look at the creator of the universe and there's every hair on my head and say, you should have done it this way. You should have done it that way. And I'll never get it. I'll always have other ways. But if I say I trust God in an Instagram bio or on a T-shirt or on a bumper sticker, that means trusting God, not just when it's comfortable, also in a moment like this when it's hard. And our generation has to understand, as scary as it is, as many threats as you may get, your listeners have to know not to roll over, to keep fighting, because there's people like Charlie Kirk that ran so that all of us can continue this fight.
Absolutely beautifully said. And your generation is also turning back to God. And it's also the ultimate, and you say this in your piece, and I've said this for a while, if you want to rebel, as everybody does, like in their 20s, their late teens, their 20s, and want to rebel, be a conservative. Because you're absolutely going against the man. The books are One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom, and Make America Talk Again. Both great books, and if you have a young person in your life, this may be something that you might want to give them. And Brylan, when it comes to your safety, if you need anything, I'm from Jersey. I know a guy, all right? I know a couple of guys, all right?
Thank you, friends. I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate it.
Brylan Hollyhan, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And go. I know you have another interview, so go. Thank you for joining me.
This was 32 of the day. I think we got a 33rd one after this. We're busy.
Oh my gosh. Only for the young. All right, you can find him at BrylanHollyhan.com, and you can follow him on X at Brylan Hollyhan, and it's BRILYN Hollyhan. All right, more coming up here on 1210 WPHT.
This year, America celebrates 250 years, 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
Feel the power of the Acura Integra. You control how you move with its integrated dynamic system. Take the wheel of the ADX with available premium Bang & Olufsen sound. Experience the power of the MDX together with space for 7 passengers. But why keep talking? Experience performance that speaks for itself. Acura.
Visit Piazza Acura of Ardmore, Reading, or Westchester for a test drive today.
Hurry into the Acura Summer of Performance event happening now.
Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Listen, I know sometimes you worry about coming to see me because you don't want to invest in real estate, because you don't want to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants. I'm going to teach you a way that you don't have to deal with toilets, trash, or tenants, or even own any real estate and invest in real estate at the same time. You want to learn this, so go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com, and take a complimentary class this Thursday, and I promise you, no toilets, no trash, no tenants.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Lenseek.
IBM is leading a project in which scientists are using quantum computers to optimize the production and extraction of tritium, which is crucial for the production of fusion energy. IBM teamed with scientists from the Oak Ridge National Laboratory and the Cleveland Clinic to calculate 9 molecular configurations of tritium, with the hope of extracting enough supply of the material to obtain clean energy from fusion power plants. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to Lenseek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. Lenseek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. Lenseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Tune in to the Crash Proof Retirement Show Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Joanne Small-Canella and Tracy Stillman. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. If you want to jump in, 855-839-1210. We were just talking to Brylan Hollyhand, young, upcoming, very impressive young man. 33. We were his 33rd interview, 32nd interview, something like that. Wow. Can you imagine having that energy back again? The stuff I could get done. Oh, it's amazing. Instead of taking a nap between shows, I could clean a bathroom. Be awesome. Let's go to Wayne in Cape May. Oh, so jealous you get to live in Cape May. Wayne, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Mary. Listen, I really appreciate listening to that gentleman you had on. I'm a boomer, and, my whole life I've always understood the liberal, conservative spectrum, but it just seems to me in the last 10 years, the left, they want socialism, and the thing that I've learned my whole life is that wherever socialism existed, human rights and civil liberties suffered. This is the exact things that the left pretends that they care about. And here this young Gen Zer publish a book. In fact, I'm buying it as soon as I get home. It was refreshing to hear, and I'm glad you had him on the show.
Well, thank you so much. He is wonderful. Like I said, I've known him for so long. I would say, God, I probably, first time we heard of him or interviewed him had to be back in like 2021, 2020, something like that. So 6 years ago. So before he was in high school, so that's how long this kid's been doing this. So his parents clearly have had an incredible influence on him. And parents, I wish parents would realize how much of an influence they have on their children, both good and bad, right? Like both ways. Because I think parents don't.
My parents were.
Go ahead.
My parents are part of the great generation. They grew up in the war. My father was a Navy veteran. They both grew up in the Depression. If I came home from school and told my dad I didn't know if I was a boy or a girl, he'd have smacked me the next Thursday. It was a different time back then.
I know.
Today,
honestly,
a father does that today. The school will call and have, child protective services banging on his door. It's a crazy world. And when you can contrast it, when you get older with what you seen when you were younger, and everybody wants to blame my generation that we were a bunch of crazed hippies and everything, and that's really not the truth.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know that. But it's just so funny. Like I said, I grew up, I was talking about having, when they did the time change, and I was in elementary school, and my mother sent me out the door to walk to school in the dark, and she just assumed I made it to school, right? Like, she just assumed I got there, and, that she didn't raise a moron. She wasn't raising an idiot, and I would figure it out, Well, it was a different time.
A very successful radio journalist, Mary, okay?
Oh, well, Wayne, you are so sweet. Thank you so much, and I'll tell her that I will make sure that she knows that. Thank you. Take care, Wayne, and enjoy Cape May. So jealous you get to live there. That's so nice. We looked at living in Cape May back in the day when we were looking, trying to figure out where we were going to live, because we used to vacation down there all the time. We used to go to the Queen Victoria all the time, and that was the place we went. The older owners, where we went there every year, loved that place, loved Cape May, and we looked into it, but it was super hard. Excuse me, for my husband with his job. To be able to live that far away from a hospital, so we couldn't do it. Excuse me, but I think I would have absolutely loved living down there. Absolutely. All right, I want to get back to the Jack Smith story. I want to follow that up since I did not finish the story. So before we were rudely interrupted by President Trump. I mean, really. We were talking about the DOJ releasing records to the Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley yesterday. And it revealed that Jack Smith, he conducted his special counsel, he had 2 investigations into Donald Trump. And boy, did they run all over the Constitution. And I think we kind of knew this anyway. His office accessed communications between the Trump White House personnel and 44 lawmakers from both parties. It's going to be interesting to see if any of the Democrats get upset about this and there's any kind of uproar, because I doubt there will be. I'm sure they were going to be told to stay very quiet about it. Spartacus will not say a word. Now, and also, when he was in front of Congress in giving a sworn deposition under oath, Jack Smith was asked whether his team looked at the content of text messages during the 2 probes into President Trump, and Smith answered no, and that was December. So they got the goods now, quickly. So he can be referred to the DOJ for, the DOJ released the records to the Judicial Committee, Senate Judiciary Committee. And he now, I would assume, can be prosecuted for perjury, for lying under oath. So could someone please be arrested, do time for lying under oath? Somebody, anyone? Because I would. You would. But it would be really great if someone who does it egregiously, that would be awesome. Ron Johnson, this is yet another grotesque example of the Biden administration's weaponization of the Justice Department. At this point, no one should be shocked by Jack Smith's recklessness, but they should be outraged. The messages between the lawmakers and White House employees were sent between October 20th and January 20th of 2021. So these are the Trump administration person. They were basically spying on the Trump administration. He was looking, and that's the angle that they're taking here, is that he was looking for a crime. They had the man. He was looking for a crime. It's very Soviet, right? It's very fascist, actually. The Trump administration personnel included Mark Meadows, Dan Scavino, Ivanka Trump, Stephen Miller, Peter Navarro, John Ratcliffe, Kash Patel, Rudy Giuliani, Kellyanne Conway, and at the time, the vice president, Mike Pence. Now, there was a filter team in place that was supposed to evaluate evidence as part of what they called Project Coconut. And the other one was Project Cranberry. Project Coconut was looking into Trump's efforts to reverse the 2020 election. Project Cranberry concerned Trump's alleged hoarding of national security documents at Mar-a-Lago. Were all the good project names taken? Because we've been naming things Project this, Project that for a really long time. So gone's like Project Tiger, and now we've got Project Coconut. So we're just at the fruits and vegetable stage of naming things. That's what it sounds like. All right. So the filter team was supposed to evaluate all the evidence before it went to the team. An August 21st, 2023 internal DOJ email included in the records that Grassley received shows that Smith's team discussed directly obtaining, quote, 54 Excel files with text messages from White House phones, unquote, which were placed in a shared drive. Another DOJ document stated that all communication to and from the filter team must go through the coordinator. No materials shall be disclosed to the investigative team without approval of a filter team attorney. However, the assistant AG Patrick Davis told Chuck Grassley in an accompanying letter yesterday that Smith's team bypassed the filter team, the lawyers, and directly accessed these text messages. The FBI then identified the people whose phone numbers sent or received the text. So the FBI was in on this. The FBI knew what Jack Smith was doing, and the FBI was complicit in this. That goes, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of people who need to be hauled in front of a committee under oath, in my humble opinion. Grassley said, I hope my Democrat colleagues, several of whom had their own texts swept up, finally put partisanship aside and recognize the severity of these actions. Smith's team ran roughshod over the Constitution even after repeated warnings from the legal team. Jack Smith has answering to do, and I intend to have him before the Senate Judiciary Committee in the coming months to hold him accountable. No more hearings. No more hearings. No more hearings. Refer him for prosecution for perjury. Simple, easy to do. All right. One other I want to get to before we go to break, and I'll ask you on the other side of this. I just want to play cut 2 here. So President Trump, he's having some kind of meeting tomorrow night. He's going to be speaking to the nation. It's not the State of the Union address or a State of the State, anything like that. But he is going to be speaking to the country tomorrow night. And so he was asked in the Oval Office, because there's a rumor floating around about what this is. And the rumor is that this is about the 2020 election. We were just talking about that. So I wonder if they have a lot of information about the 2020 election. And this is supposed to be about allegedly, but nobody is officially saying anything, the 2020 election and election interference. All right. So he is asked, it's a little hard to hear, by a reporter if that's what this meeting tomorrow night is about. So here is her asking, and then President Trump's response.
Machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell the
Well,
audience?
I'd rather save it. It will concern that subject, and we'll have a couple of other things to
Why
say
should people
also.
watch, though?
But I'd rather save it. But it's really big news. It's really, really big news, and our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday. Is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah.
And kudos to President Trump, right? Like, he didn't take the bait. President Trump loves to go off, right? There he goes, and he'll talk about everything, right? But he eventually does get right back to the point. He brings it back. But I was so impressed. He didn't. He really gave nothing. Our country has to shape up. We're going to talk about it Thursday. It doesn't get bigger. The other thing I have heard, again, on social media, take it with a grain of salt. Because social media also told me that Mitch McConnell was dead. So there's that. Take it with a grain of salt. That it has to do with foreign interference in the 2020 election. Part of it. So knowing what we now know about Jack Smith and the papers that they have from Jack Smith that were given to the Judiciary Committee, it seems plausible that they have something big on the 2020 election. In my humble opinion. You may disagree. And if you want to disagree, you can. 855-839-1210 if you think it might be about something different and you would like to, you want to take a guess here and make it public, feel free. We are more than happy to hear it. You can also tag me in a post on X at Mary Walter Radio. All right, we've got more coming up. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 1210 WPHT.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
This year, America celebrates 250 years. 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
NHL star Matt Martin for American Humane.
Hi, I'm Matt Martin, and in all my years of playing professional hockey, I've gotten my share of bruises and injuries. But for many who really put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. I'm talking about our veterans. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and tragically, 20 take their own lives. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane, serving the U.S. military for over 100 years, has put together a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving service animals. If you are a veteran or know a veteran struggling with PTS, please go to AmericanHumane.org for this free, downloadable resource. Let's give our veterans the help they need to win their battle.
For more information, visit AmericanHumane.org.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA member FDIC.
When someone's AC is on the fritz or drains are just not draining at all, like at all, Horizon Services never asks, how soon do you need it fixed? You know why? Because no one in recorded history has ever said, oh, take your time, just whenever you can get to it. We just assume how fast can you get here will always be the answer. So Horizon will be there same day, and we won't leave until you're 100% satisfied. See? Sometimes it's good to assume. It gets your AC fixed fast. Book today at horizonservices.com.
Now you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
And welcome back to 1210 WPHT. I'm Mary Walter. So we were just talking about President Trump has a big announcement coming up Thursday night. He refused to take the bait. I'm so proud of him. Did not give away what it was, but we're hearing it has something to do with election integrity. We know that. And we know also that the DOJ sent paperwork over to Chuck Grassley's counsel, and they are going to bring Jack Smith back because apparently they found a lot of stuff, and Jack Smith just running roughshod over the Constitution. He had the man, he just needed the crime. So, and this all some of it had to do with the 2020 election. So I wonder if that's what's going on. A lot of people are positing on X about, what could it be? And a lot of people are saying 2020 election, and it has something to do with foreign interference. Trump says it's going to be big. It'll be huge. A lot of times people will tell you, it's going to be a big deal. And you're like, that was it. A little disappointing. So I'm going to watch it. I will reserve judgment or anticipation. I'm not going to anticipate anything because a lot of times I'm disappointed. And so I don't want to be disappointed. I'll expect it to be nothing and then be pleasantly surprised. I will open a beer and popcorn, though. Mike in Philly, welcome. You're on 1210 WPHT. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mary, what kind of beer is that?
Right now we have Cape May Crushing It.
Okay, well, I like your speculation about the interference for the 2020 election. And if that's the case, then the American public, the voters, got shafted, and certainly Trump got shafted for the election. And I think that's enough cause to have a do-over and give Trump a chance for running for third office.
Ooh. Huh. I got to tell you, I think he's going to be too old. Right? He just turned 80. He's going to be, 83, 84 when he's out of office? You want to do another 4 years? We want an almost 90-year-old in the presidency
I'm
at that point.
20 years younger than him, and I'm tired just looking at him.
Exactly. He never sleeps. The man never sleeps. It's insane. I could not keep up with him, but as much as I like your thinking, I don't think that would have any legs. I don't think that would go anywhere. I think the best we can hope for out of this is maybe getting the Save America Act passed. I think maybe that.
Right. So that's the popular view I've heard all day. It's for the Save America Act.
Okay, maybe, yeah. So maybe it is. And God, if he could run again, that would be so interesting. But I will tell you, Mike, don't tease me.
Straight to the Supreme Court. Let them decide.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
All right, Mary, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Take care. I will say though, here's me, and thank you for the laugh, Mike. I will say that at the time, when Trump lost the election in 2020, I was convinced he didn't really lose the election. They just kept counting until they had Biden over the finish line, and I will say to this day that I don't believe that was legit. I just don't. I'm sorry. That's not what you're supposed to say. I don't personally believe it was legit. Do I have proof? I got a lot of suspicion. Do I have proof? No, I don't have proof. But maybe we'll get proof on Thursday. But I also, when Trump won it just recently, when he became 47, I also kind of had it dawn on me that things happen for a reason. You say it, you hear it all the time. Things happen for a reason. God has things happen for a reason. And I thought, maybe we had to go through Biden to appreciate what we had in Trump 45, if that makes sense, right? We had to get Biden in order to appreciate what we had. Now, and I think maybe that was the whole thing, that Biden was just so bad. Actually, Obama's third term, sorry, that's what I think. Obama's third term was just so bad that we just appreciated Trump and realized what we had, and so that was that. So I don't know. I like I said, it all happens in good time, and God uses imperfect men at perfect times. So I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get too preachy on you. That's just my personal belief. Is that Catholic education at Villanova comes. See, I got my Villanova shirt on, coming out. Like, there we go. All right, I want to talk a little bit about immigration, because I just think you want to talk about chutzpah. Holy, listen to this. Mexico is filing criminal complaints with state prosecutors in the U.S. over the death of their citizens in U.S. immigration custody and during enforcement operations. Now, another guy just died today because they were enforcing a warrant for someone, and this guy was in the country legally. He had work papers. He was legal, but they were coming to the place of work, and instead of just showing his papers like a normal person, he panicked, he ran into traffic and got hit by a tractor trailer. Boom. So, of course, ICE is going to be blamed for that, too. But if you would just show your papers, he wouldn't have had a problem. And they would have said, thank you very much. Have a nice day. And that would have been it. But they were, he panicked and ran. So they're going to get blamed for that too. And they're going to get blamed, anytime somebody dies, they're going to get blamed for it. If these people had just self-deported, when they still have the opportunity, you still have the opportunity to self-deport, public service announcement, and they think they give you $2,000 to go back and a ticket, you can go. You can take the kids, you can take the whole family. All of you can go back. It's fine. And then you can apply to come back into the country legally. If they've got to catch you and deport you, you ain't coming back legally. No more. No mas. No more. Ain't happening. But the chutzpah from Mexico. Mexico's government has also sent cease and desist letters to U.S. detention centers where Mexican nationals have died. President Claudia Sheinbaum Monday said, "I don't think this situation appears acceptable to anyone. This is an issue for all Mexicans." And so she's trying to make this like a nationalist cause for Mexicans. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, President Trump should just tell them all get the heck out. Bye-bye. Go. Can you imagine if we sued Mexico every time an American is killed by a Mexican nationalist in the country legally or illegally? Can you imagine if we sued them for that? Maybe we should start doing that. We should start doing that. Somebody's got Kash Patel on. Get Kash Patel on the line. We've got to start suing them for that. Or Todd Blanche will be Attorney General, right? So when Todd Blanche comes in, maybe he'll start suing Mexico. Oh, you want to play this game? Two can play this game. We're going to sue you every time an American is killed or raped or attacked in any way, shape, or form by a Mexican national. In 2025, roughly 70,000 Americans were killed by drug overdoses, mostly due to drugs smuggled from Mexico. In the United States, hundreds of thousands of Americans have been killed, of course, by the drug trafficking. But also, what about the ones killed by drunk driving? Apparently, there's a thing about drunk driving for them. Like, I don't know if that's like a thing in their country, if that's normal, but you see a lot of those cases. Murder, rape, assault, robbery. Can you imagine? We could bankrupt Mexico. The other thing we could do is because in 2025, the Mexican economy got $62 billion in remittances from the United States, from Mexicans living in the United States, sending the money back to Mexico. President Trump should just tax all of those remittances, put a tax on it, which I don't know if we could get Congress to actually do that because Congress isn't going to do anything. But if we could get Congress to do it, tax the remittances back to Mexico and say this is to pay for the crimes that your citizens and you are committing here in the United States. Two can play this game. Roughly 37 million Mexicans, Hispanics of Mexican origin, live in the United States in 2021. So that was at the beginning of the Biden administration. Do you know how many are here now since we had the open borders? 62 billion. That would crash the Mexican economy. And I have to tell you right now, I'm down for that. I am down for that. The hubris is insane. They're going to sue us. Claudia Sheinbaum. I don't think she's any match for Donald Trump. I think she thinks she is, but I don't think she's any match for him. Also, ICE has been ordered to temporarily stop conducting vehicle stops in the wake of the two deadly shootings, one in Texas and one in Maine. I think also if you don't want to get shot, you probably shouldn't drive your car at an ICE agent. If they tell you to get out of the car, I would say you should get out of the car. I just think that this is common sense. If they tell you to get out, you do, and then you don't get shot. I understand you don't want to be deported, but you had your opportunity to go, and you chose not to, and sometimes bad choices have bad outcomes. That's the way it works. Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen gave the directive after he spoke with Susan Collins, because Susan Collins wants to be reelected and they were losing their minds in Maine, and she wants to be reelected. So Susan Collins had to call off the dogs and say, okay, we're going to temporarily stop this. Okay, you won. And it'll take it through the midterm. She gets reelected, and that's that. He said all personnel are instructed to prioritize other existing operational methods outside of vehicle stops to conduct immigration enforcement activities. So in most cases, Tom Homan said, it's not a policy change, it's a temporary pause. And he said, is there any training that can be improved? We'll look at that. Is it simply us doing their jobs and bad things happen when people don't comply with law enforcement officers? They're going to look at that. But he also said, you can stop them when they're getting in the car. And you can stop them when they get out of the car. You follow them as they drive to work. They get out of the car. There you get them there. I'm also a big fan of leaving them in the car and just sitting outside waiting for them to get out because they're eventually going to have to come out. I feel the same thing like when protesters like tie themselves to something where they like cement their hands to a bridge or some stupidity. I'm a big fan of leave them there. Walk away, leave them there. Let their friends figure out how to get them up. That'll happen once. And that's never going to happen again. Instead, no, we have to stop everything, and you got to, hammer the mountain and, give him medical treatment. No, let him sit there. You got to pee, you should put diaper on. Sorry, I didn't think about that. You hungry? Aw. Let them sit there with their hands or wherever they happen to be. They're up in a tree somewhere. Don't let them come down. Sit around, rotating guards down at the base of the tree, whatever it happens to be. And that stuff will stop very, very quickly. So get out of the car, I think is obviously the message here is, which is, it's sad that these people keep dying. And the one guy, they weren't even looking for him, who just got run over by a tractor trailer. Probably driven by an illegal, but that's another story for another day. All right, coming up, where are we? Coming up, we have Jay Green, who's from Do No Harm Research. He is going to talk about the dumbing down of American doctors and how American doctors are now concentrating more on research and writing papers that are woke than actually learning. So that's awesome. That makes me feel great. So that we'll talk to him about that. Maybe he'll make us feel better about that. Coming up on 1210 WPHT.
Is life insurance still on your list from earlier this year? Now is the perfect time to just get it done. A buddy told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I added this to my list this year and got it done. I called SelectQuote and was shocked at how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $18 a month. My wife's also 40, and her $5,000 policy was only $16 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, no medical exam was required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Checking this off my list felt great, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-5858 for your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-5858. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-280-5858. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers. And on the sidelines, we cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA member FDIC.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Heart disease and stroke can be catastrophic. They're leading causes of death, disability, and healthcare spending in the U.S., yet they're largely preventable. Alarmingly, heart disease and stroke are taking a toll on middle-aged adults 35 to 64, with over 800,000 deaths and hospitalizations in 2016. Million Hearts is a national initiative focused on preventing 1 million heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular events by 2022. Coordinated actions by Million Hearts partners in communities, healthcare, and public health will keep people healthy, optimize care, and improve outcomes in populations at risk. Everyone has a part to play. Focus on the ABCs of heart health. A. Aspirin use when appropriate. B. Blood pressure control. C. Cholesterol management. And S. Smoking cessation. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital
ABC
signs.
News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The U.S. carried out rare daytime strikes today against Iran's coastal defense systems as the battle over control of the Strait of Hormuz takes a new turn. Iran also beginning to fire back at U.S. assets in the region. ABC's Christian Cordero has more.
This video circulating online is from the southern port of Chabahar. Another video posted online shows Iran's retaliation in the escalating attacks, hitting a building in Kuwait that Iran's regime says stored U.S. weapons. Gulf allies, including Bahrain and Jordan, say their air defense systems have intercepted incoming missiles.
Secretary Pete Hegseth announcing troops will be tested annually for testosterone levels.
Under the new policy, service members aged 30 and older will receive annual testosterone screenings as part of their routine health assessments, and those diagnosed with a testosterone deficiency will have the option to undergo testosterone replacement therapy. Low testosterone levels have long been a concern in the military, though doctors have raised concerns that the online popularity of the therapy could lead to overprescribing. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
President Trump has overturned the pause on vehicle stops by federal agents during immigration operations. That directive issued yesterday by HHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen following officer-involved shootings in Maine and Texas. In Maine, the state attorney general's office says it continues to investigate the fatal shooting of a Colombian immigrant by federal law enforcement. ABC's Victor Oquendo says the family is demanding a transparent investigation.
Outrage grows over a deadly shooting in Biddeford, Maine, where 25-year-old Johann Sebastian Guerrero was shot and killed, even though he was not the intended target of immigration officers. According to representation for the family, Guerrero had a social security number, as well as work authorization in the United States. DHS says Guerrero entered the country illegally in September 2023, but obtained a work permit in 2025.
You're listening to ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
In Texas, severe rainfall leading to life-threatening flood waters in central Texas already inundated, and they're now bracing for more rain. Here's ABC meteorologist Leslie Lopez.
Loma Alta to Uvalde, out to Kerrville. We're looking at a 4 out of 4 flood risk. That's 2 inches of rain falling per hour. That's a lot of rain in a short amount of time. Again, we're going to add another 6 to potentially 12 inches of rain in some of these areas. You can see how heavy that rain is. It's also a slow mover, so it's going to dump rain over a particular area for a long period of time. In fact, if you're looking at Campwood, they've already received about 12 inches of rain, expected to receive more here today too. So this is going to continue through today into tomorrow.
A search and rescue operation continuing for 3 people still missing in the San Francisco Bay after a boat began sinking near Alcatraz Island. ABC's Trevor Ault is in San Francisco.
Coast Guard racing to the scene, but by the time they arrived, the bottom 2 levels of that 3-level cruiser were underwater. It's unclear if anyone was wearing a life vest. 1 passenger rushed to shore was later pronounced dead. 13 passengers were safely rescued. 3 people were taken to the hospital with injuries.
Officials say 20 people, most of them relatives, were on board. A 67-million-year-old T-Rex fossil just sold for $50.1 million. That's the most valuable dinosaur ever sold at auction. It's also one of the largest ever unearthed. It was found in South Dakota and nicknamed Gus. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
I'm just a kid. I'm 6. I'm 9. I'm 4.5. And I've got asthma. You know just how upset I can get when I have an asthma attack. And I know that you want to do all that you can do to help me. But you might not know about all the different stuff that can make me have an asthma attack are all the simple things you can do to fight my asthma. You can fight it with a bear. You can fight it with a duck.
You can fight it with a wrench.
Put my teddy bear in the freezer to wipe out dust mites.
Dry off rubber duckies and fix leaks to get rid of mold.
'Cause mold can start my asthma attacks too.
Discover other simple ways to prevent an asthma attack. Visit noattacks.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. EPA, the Ad Council, and this station.
Thanks for doing all you can to help me out.
'Cause I don't want to feel like a fish with no water.
WPHT, WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of nonstop talk. From Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
From Jersey roots to the nation's air, she cuts through noise like she just don't care. Truth on the table, no sugar, no spin. If you wanna talk real, yeah, Mary's dialed in. Headlines breaking, but she's breaking it down. While the rest plays safe, she's the best in town. From across the globe to your ride home drive, she's got the facts and the fire live. She'll never waver, yeah, she'll never falter. Turn up the volume, it's time for Mary Walter. It's Mary Walter Radio. Let's get into it.
Thanks, Newman. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, yeah, I had to turn a light off because it's getting hot in here. So I'm in the attic, the 3rd floor, which was, it's an old house, 1800s, servants' quarters. There is actually space above me, but maybe not in this part of the house, maybe over in that part of the house, but maybe not here, because this was an addition. They put a bathroom on. There's actually a line in the ceiling. You can see where it was. But anyway, I'm on the western side of the house where the wind's coming in. There's no air conditioning in here, so I have a little air conditioner, and Puppy's struggling. It's at 79 degrees, but it's struggling, so I turn the light off just to try to keep it a little bit cooler in here as the day goes on and it gets hotter. What is the temperature here right now? Hold on. Let me see. I think we're at like 95, something like that right now. Come on. 96. Wow, 96. Oh, looks like we're going to get some rain. Probably not. But yeah, the rain comes, it'll cool stuff down. It'll make it less humid when the rain comes. So yeah, it looks like we're going to get some rain. So all right. So that's why I look a little dark right now, is just that I had to turn the light off, try to keep it a little cooler. Okay. Joining us now is Jay Green. He is the director of Do No Harm Research. You can find him on X at JP Green with an E on the end of it. Sir, welcome to 1210 WPHT. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So I'm really interested in this topic because my husband is a physician, and his father was a physician, and his father's brother, and my husband's brother, and my husband's brother's wife, and his sister's husband. So we got a lot of doctors in the family, right? On that side of the family, there's a lot of doctors going on. And I will tell you one thing he says is that the training that the residents go through, the new batch comes in every June, something like that. The new batch comes in, and he just says they're just not smart. He said the training has changed so much for them that they're not taught how to think and reason. They like to just go to their phone and look everything up and come up with an answer. So what you're talking about, though, in the piece that we're going to talk about today is the fact that in order to get a better residency or into they're trying to, they're competing for that. And so they're writing a lot of research papers, which how they have the time to do that is beyond me, because my husband did one, but he did like a full blown sleep study thing with another, with a attending, and they did this whole thing. And it took a lot of time and effort. So I don't understand how they write a lot of them. So what are you talking about when you talk about the move away from grades and the move towards research? How is that affecting care?
Right. Well, so this new study that we came out with this week from Do No Harm actually helps explain what your husband has observed, which is that medical students competing to get hired into attractive residencies. So to become a fully licensed doctor, just so everyone is familiar, after students complete med school, they need to be a resident in a specialty and complete that residency to receive licensure. And some residencies in some specialties lead to very lucrative careers, and those residencies are very competitive. So becoming a surgeon or becoming a dermatologist, these are very lucrative specialties, and so the residencies are more competitive. So the students want to compete for the residencies, but the ways they used to compete were aligned with them learning the knowledge and gaining the experiences to be effective doctors, because they would compete by trying to get good grades in their courses, by getting high scores on the standardized exam, so that they would pay a lot of attention to their coursework and their clinical rotations. But in the last decade or so, medical schools have shifted their grading of their courses to pass-fail, and the national standardized exam has also shifted to pass-fail without reporting the score that the student receives. So the problem is that the medical students can't stand out by doing better in their classes, learning the material better, doing better on the test. They can't stand out anymore, so they're looking for a way to stand out. The only way they can stand out is by publishing articles. So, and it's not just that they publish an article, but that how many they publish. So to get into a surgical residency, sometimes they need over 30 published articles. So they're producing this high volume of publication, but it's junk. Like you asked, how would they have time to do it? And the way they have time is because the things they're publishing aren't good. And so they don't take very much time, but they're just lines on their resume to compete for getting into a residency. And the harm that this does to public health care is that we're steering our medical students away from learning the content and skills they need to be effective doctors, and we're steering them into politicized, woke, junk research.
Yeah, and what people need to understand is there's just so much going on in medicine right now. And my husband's father told him, "Do not become a doctor. You're not going to like it. It's not going to be the same as when I was a doctor. You're going to be miserable." And sure enough, he's miserable. Is the corporatization of medicine as well plays into here. If you belong to a large, like you said, orthopedic group, especially cardiology group, that kind of thing, where you can tell, even cardiology is tough, but you can tell the corporation that owns the hospital to stuff it, you will do much better. You'll be much happier. And I think part of what's happening is everyone wants into surgery. Everyone wants into, plastics and dermatology, because dermatology is easy. If it's dry, wet it. If it's wet, dry it. Orthopedics, those types of things, is because you get paid well. And the other specialties where you used to get paid well a generation ago, you don't anymore. And that's why I think a lot of this is so competitive. Plus, we have a ton of foreign medical students, don't we?
We do. And I've also published on this. In fact, a quarter of all our new doctors come from abroad each year. Yeah. So each year, a quarter of medical residents are graduates of foreign medical schools. And part of the problem with that, frankly, is that we don't accredit those medical schools. And so we're not really as confident about the quality of the preparation they receive as graduates of American medical schools. So we have a quality control problem. Now, when the number of foreign doctors was relatively small, frankly, we were cream skimming the very best from abroad, and it wasn't a problem. But when it's grown really big, so that we went from 8% of our doctors from abroad to now 25%, now we're not cream skimming the very best from abroad, but we're bringing in whoever And sometimes they begin to bring in fellow nationals, friends, and so on into these positions. And so there's begun to be an immigration pipeline here that has nothing to do with the quality of those doctors.
Which that's insane to me that they come from medical schools and they're not accredited. Like, we don't take American students from non-accredited schools. Why are there so many openings for foreign students? Are there openings for foreign students because American students are just not going into medicine anymore because they're smarter than that now because they know they're not going to make the money back from what you put out. It's going to take a long time.
Actually, there are more applicants for med school than ever.
Oh, wow.
Their test scores are higher than ever. Their GPAs are higher than ever. The problem is that med schools have not expanded the number of spots in the U.S. to keep up with our population. And that's because the med schools are accredited by 2 accreditors in the U.S., and they used to declare that we had a glut of doctors, and they put a freeze on the expansion of U.S. med schools. They have relented on that recently, but they still have not increased the number of opportunities for Americans to receive a medical education in the U.S. And so we're just bringing in foreigners to substitute for the lack of spots in America. And in fact, the lack of spots in America is so severe that we have Americans go to the Caribbean to get their medical education by a Caribbean medical school and then come back to practice here because they can't get a spot in the U.S. And people say, oh, well, those are the bad students or those are bad med schools. But actually, they could be really good students. We just don't have enough opportunities for them here in the U.S.
Yeah, and I will say, I'm going to say this, I hear my husband sometimes speaking to the residents, because he'll have them on speaker when he's doing whatever, talking to them. I can't understand a word they're saying. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm racist. I do not understand a word they're saying. And I've encountered this a couple of times in hospitals where I just had to say, I'm sorry, I don't understand you. I just don't.
This is a problem. The only thing that a foreign medical graduate has to do to be hired into a U.S. residency is to pass a standardized test and also to pass an English test. However, unfortunately, there's rampant cheating. People can pay other people to take their tests for them. Unfortunately, in developing countries, we don't have the same kind of enforcement of rules and procedures that we have in the U.S. There is more corruption and bribery going on, and it's a problem. And in fact, we've built these pipelines of people being hired into U.S. residencies that are being hired by by graduates of those same foreign medical schools. So Do No Harm actually filed a civil rights complaint identifying 3 medical residency programs with an unusually high percentage. Virtually 100% of the medical residents in those programs were from abroad, and where the director of those programs, who does the hiring, is from the same region of the world where virtually all of those medical residents are from. So you'll have in Amarillo, Texas, an internal medicine residency with 98% of the residents are from abroad, most of them from Syria, Jordan, and Iraq, and the directors from Iraq. That sort of thing, right? And then you have to sit there and wonder, did that happen? That couldn't have happened by chance, right? That's very unlikely to occur by chance. Right. Did no American want to be an internal medicine resident in Amarillo? I mean, it's a very strange pattern that suggests discrimination, some sort of favoritism towards the graduate from their home country, from their home medical school, and frankly, then discrimination against American medical graduates.
Now, in this piece, you also talk about going back to these American students having to write all of these papers in order to try to get into a good residency because they're competing with a lot of foreigners for these residencies. Although I would have to say, I would think like plastics and surgical ones are really where the Americans probably have an edge because of the language barrier, which definitely, like I said, it exists. I'm sorry, like I said, maybe I'm racist for noticing it, but when I'm in a hospital and I can't understand what you're saying to me, we have a problem. So, but I would assume that they have a little bit of an edge in those.
Yeah, foreigners have a hard time getting into the more competitive residencies because there are so many Americans applying. The ones where foreigners tend to come in are less lucrative fields like internal medicine, pediatrics, family medicine. Now, but to get into that surgical residency, if you're an American medical graduate, you have to have dozens of publications. And they have no formal training in doing research in med school. That's not what they're being prepared for. They're not being prepared as researchers. They're being prepared as doctors. And yet they have to engage in this research to pad their resume. And so what they do is very politicized work. So in the report, I featured 3 examples to give you a taste for what these publications look like. So one is about the experience of indigenous medical students in med school, okay? And how did they study it? Well, they surveyed the literature and they found 200 articles on it, and then they picked 13 of them to read for reasons that are unclear. They then summarized it using a lot of woke jargon like minoritized and stuff like that, and then they conclude about how poorly treated indigenous medical students are. Meanwhile, the article itself never actually lists the 13 studies. They're not in the reference section. You couldn't replicate that study even if you wanted to. And so how did that get published? Well, it gets published because it's virtue signaling the right political message. And so that's the easy junk research that medical students can do. And by the way, one of the authors of that study, he's now in a surgical residency. So he did what he needed to do to get into that position. It's just not the right thing for being the best doctor.
Right. So because I truly don't care if my doctor, my surgeon, especially a surgeon, right? You're going to be cutting me open. I realize that you're a glorified butcher. Got it. I have very close friends with my orthopedic surgeon, and he'll tell you all the time, he goes, I'm a glorified butcher. Look at these hands, right? Like, he's got like these big hands, right? And he'll show you the tools. He's like, I literally have a saw. But so how did our medical system, though, get to this point? Where did it all go wrong, and when did it start to go wrong?
Well, really, it has to do with the enforcement of standards and the selection of people based on merit. And so,
that's the bad word.
Well,
the bad word is merit.
Well, so you have to ask, why is it that we went to pass-fail in medical school courses? Why is it that we got rid of reporting the score on the standardized exam? And the reason is to promote DEI goals. They recognize that even if they were engaged in racial discrimination to give preference to certain groups of students to get into med school, there were still barriers to them getting into the attractive residencies if they couldn't perform well in their courses and couldn't do well on the standardized test. Well, if they obscure that information by making everything pass-fail and throwing away the thing that would differentiate the better-performing students from the worst-performing students, that would improve equity, okay? That's what they were looking for. But what it's done is it's given us, first, less qualified doctors, but it's also shifted the attention of doctors from their courses to this junk research instead. And the solution, by the way, and there is a solution, is to go back to letter grading for courses in med school, go back to reporting the score on standardized exams, let the medical students compete on doing great in their classes, learning the content of being a doctor, and that's how they compete for the best residencies.
Yeah, so changes have to be made, and I would assume that most of the professors in medical school want to go back to those standards. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just easier just saying pass, fail. Pass, fail. That's it's just easier for them. But my my father-in-law used to tell my husband all the time, you don't want to go into, because of the lawsuits. You can't practice medicine. It's going to be really, really bad by the time you get in there. Everything you do, you're going to get sued. And that was what was driving people out. I will tell you, my father-in-law stayed in medicine in his 80s, not practicing, but he was doing, working with the county on drug programs and that kind of thing. My husband, this batch of doctors, like the generation now that's coming up, that's in like their 50s, etc., they cannot wait. They are counting the days until they can retire and get out. We've destroyed it.
It used to be a higher prestige occupation, and frankly, if you undermine the meritocratic selection of people being into the doctor, then it's a little harder to respect the people in the occupation as much. So it's undermined the status and the intrinsic reward of being a doctor. I think financial changes have also made it a little more less attractive for some people. But there's also been an interesting shift in who doctors work for. They used to work for themselves. They used to own their own practices at a pretty high rate. Increasingly, they work for hospitals. They're employees, and when you're an employee, it's harder to be high status than when you're the boss, and second, you have less control over your life, over your work life, and that makes it less attractive. Now,
100%. And the hospitals, I happened to my husband for a hostile takeover of the practice, and they basically tell people a hospital group is bought, big corporations own them all now. And they're just pencil pushers. That's all they are. They just look at the bottom line. They don't understand how hospitals work. They don't understand how doctors' offices operate, but they have an MBA. So there's that. And they tell you, if you do not sell your practice to us and then start working for us, and we control your schedule, all those things you were saying, you will no longer have control. We will make sure that you never get a referral in this hospital, and we'll start our own group and push you out. So they're basically hostile takeovers, and that's why you see so many doctors, like all of a sudden in one area, you notice things change when you walk in. Wait, there's new signage, and it's not the doctor's name, it's the the corporation's name, it's whatever the hospital group is, Atlantic Health or whatever it happens to be. That's on the door now. Like, you start to notice changes, and it's the corporatization, because they run them off. It works in one office, it has to work in all offices. So I think that is one of the reasons why doctors kind of just throw their hands up and give up, because they're like, I can't, like you said, can't own my own practice anymore. I built it. I can't run it the way I want to. I'm just a cog in the wheel now, and I never wanted to be a cog in a wheel.
But I don't think we should despair. All the challenges you describe are all true and real, but we can make progress on these things. And at Do No Harm, I think we are making progress. It's actually amazing how much progress we've made in eliminating DEI from medicine. And we're also addressing this issue of a foreign pipeline that's not meritocratically selected. We've made progress on getting some states to adopt letter grading as a requirement for their state medical school. So all these challenges we're describing are real problems, but we shouldn't despair, because we need good doctors, and we need systems of preparing and hiring those doctors that are focused on merit and skill, and not on identity or political nonsense.
Yeah, no, it needs to be taken back, and also we need a revamp of the lawsuit system as well, because you can sue someone for anything, and it's just ridiculous. Like the clerk in the hospital room gets sued, in the records department gets sued. It's just out of control. A lot of problems, but I'm glad you said we can have some hope here, because I'm going to get to that age where I'm going to be like, my entire life is going to be visiting doctors. Like, you never think it's going to happen to you, but then you get to that age, you're like, oh, like I was just saying earlier, I went to a new doctor probably about a year ago, and I took everything in me to not ask him, to refrain from asking him if his mother had to drive him to work. So, right? Because you're so used to your doctors being older than you. and your age,
Yeah.
right? Like you're older than you, and then they're your age, and you know them, and like you hang out, like you know your doctors, and then all of a sudden you get one, and I'm like, are you 12? Like how old are you? You know, like I want to see papers before we have anything done here. So I'm getting to that age where I'm going to need them more. So thank you for giving us some hope. It is Do No Harm Research. If people want to find out more, is there a webpage they can go to?
Sure. It's at donoharmmedicine.org.
That's super easy. DoNoHarmMedicine.org, or you can follow JP Green with an E on the end on X. Thank you for your time. Super interesting conversation. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, your calls, 855-839-1210. Coming up next here on 1210 WPHT.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Get ready to unwrap your best health during the Rescue Natural Supplements Christmas in July sale event with savings up to 73% off. That's right. The season of giving is making a huge summertime comeback with site-wide slash pricing on over 50 research-backed formulas crafted with purity, potency, and real science behind every capsule. From high-intensity omega-3s and doctor-recommended cholesterol balance to mobility, gut health, and even advanced cognitive support, now's the perfect time to take advantage of serious discounts and discover why thousands have trusted Rescue's quality and value for over 40 years. So celebrate Christmas in July with sale prices and save up to 73% off for a limited time. Ordering is easy. Just go to res-q.com or call a Rescue product consultant 800-26-ALIVE. You won't regret giving yourself the gift of finally feeling your best. Again, that's 800-262-5483 or online at res-q.com for up to 73% off today.
Hi, this is Larry Steinhaus, and I want to let you know that I buy houses. I buy houses from people that may be a tired landlord, maybe somebody who's having trouble selling their house, or maybe someone who needs to sell their house quickly. Well, all you need to do is call 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
Hit the road this season to watch the birds. Book your road trip with Fans of Philly. Trips are available now for Nashville, Arizona, Chicago, and London. Travel in style with transportation, a pregame party, and game tickets to enjoy the birds on the road this season with Fans of Philly. The official travel partner of 94 WIP and the Eagles Radio Network. Book now at fansofphilly.com. That's fans with a PH of Philly.com.
Pet parents, there are many sources to buy your pet food these days, but at Dogs and Cats Rule, we take special care in selecting our brands based on quality of ingredients, company transparency, and science-based nutrition. Coming into a Dogs and Cats Rule store with a dietary issue, we can help select the proper food. The best part of the visit is the shopping experience. That's Dogs and Cats Rule with 7 locations. For information online, visit dogsandcatsrule.pet. Dogs and Cats Rule. Shop small, shop local, shop family.
Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
Weather sponsored by Kitchen Magic.
It'll stay very warm this afternoon into the evening. Overnight, we'll get down to 76. Tomorrow, hazy and hot, high 95, not quite as humid in the afternoon. Friday, high 93, partly sunny, humidity's going down more. Saturday, high 83, but we may see some showers and thunderstorms.
Hey, Dawn Stensland. This summer, Kitchen Magic in Nazareth is offering 40% off installation plus flexible financing. Family owned since 1979 with the craftsmanship to prove it. Visit kitchenmagic.com. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
All right, welcome back to 1210 WPHT. Real feel here, 109. It's 109. Real feel. The little air conditioner's still chugging along at 79 degrees. It's struggling. 79. Still doing good. Boy. By the way, have you ever been on like X or social media, Instagram, wherever you are, and you just see someone post something, like they just make a comment, and it's so stupid that you actually stop because they think they're being smart and they think they're making like this incredible point, and it's just so mind-numbingly dumb that you just sit and you go, wait, what? And then you start to type and you're going to respond, and then you just delete and walk away because, like, you know that like the person's already proven that they're stupid, so you're an idiot if you engage them because you know where it's going to go. It's just going to get stupider. That's what's going to happen. Who was it who used to say stupider all the time? It may have been Teresa Giudice on Real Housewives of New Jersey, but somebody, public figure, used to say stupider. But yeah, it's just going to get stupider. And so I did that during the break. I saw somebody say something. I was like, wait, what? I was like, that's monumentally dumb. And then I started, and I was like, nope, delete. Nope. I'm not taking the bait. Because nobody can be that stupid. They're trying to get me into a conversation. Not happening. Not happening at all. See? I'm smarter than them. All right. Amy Coney Barrett, she was on Capitol Hill yesterday. She was testifying before Congress along with Justice Elena Kagan. And it was interesting because they were talking about the need for more money for more security. And I'm of two minds of this. The Supreme Court is looking for a 10% budget increase for fiscal year 2027, with roughly about $16.5 million of the $20.7 million increase dedicated to expanding security for the justices. $16.6 million for the justices. Now, I don't know if all the justices have had the threat, like the real threats in their life, like Kavanaugh, like Amy Coney Barrett, I don't know if they've all had those level threats, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, would she even know if it happened? I don't think she would. I just don't think that's all there. I think she's one of those people who's just floating through life and is insanely unaware of her surroundings. But I want to go to cut 3. Let's start with that. Amy Coney Barrett detailed different things that happened with her family, different instances of security breaches that affected her and her family. And they all had one thing in common. I'll tell you what that is coming up. And gee, I wonder how that happened. But she's talking about her kids being exposed to things that her kids are too young to be exposed to. They shouldn't have to deal with these things at such a young age, but yet they're being forced to them. This time she talks about something that she brought home and had to figure out how to explain to her son what it was.
The threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago, around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on a table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why I had it, and I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one.
That's sad. Your kids shouldn't have to know that mommy needs a bulletproof vest, that she's in that kind of danger. That's not fair. It's not fair at all, but the left doesn't care. And notice she said it was in the light of the Dobbs decision, the Dobbs leak, which, by the way, We don't know who the individual is. We don't know who the leaker was because the Supreme Court investigated themselves and shockingly couldn't find out who the leaker was. Now, I blame Justice Roberts for that because he is the Chief Justice. He's in charge of these types of things, and he should have wanted to know who the leaker was. But apparently, he had no interest in knowing. He directed the marshal of the court to investigate the source of the leak. So they investigated themselves. The court's IT department found no evidence of a hack, indicating that the leak was likely due to outdated security protocols. So if you can't find it, why would you not call in the FBI? Why would you not do that? To find out who leaked. My hunch is they know who leaked. The identity of the leaker is known. And my hunch is they're protecting one of their own because that person either allowed it to happen or knew it was happening or somehow allowed someone to get that information, because who else would have it besides the justices? Maybe they're clerks, but they didn't want to throw one of their own under the bus. And so we investigated ourselves and found we did absolutely nothing wrong. Imagine that. It's so weird how that happens. So that was the one thing that Amy Coney Barrett talks about, is it's all in the wake of the Dobbs decision, the Dobbs leak. So another one she talks about, now she said that this has happened to several of them, but she did not name who the other justices are who have had this happen to them. But it has to do with, it's really kind of creepy when you think about it. It has to do with them receiving anonymous packages, things that they did not order that are delivered to their homes. This is cut 4, Justin.
Many of us, me included, have received threatening anonymous deliveries designed to intimidate and harass us. They are often sent in the name of Judge Salas's son, who I think, as you mentioned in the beginning, Mr. Chairman, is deceased because he was killed by a disgruntled lawyer who showed up at Judge Salas's home intending to kill her, but her son, 20 years old at the time, opened the door and took the bullet instead. Her husband, standing behind, was seriously injured. So I think the message on these deliveries being sent in his name is clear.
Yeah, and I believe that was in New Jersey. And so, very super liberal state, and they wanted to send a message, and so, yeah. The son was killed, so sending the packages in the son's name does indeed send a message, and that's creepy. And how can you not track the package? I don't know. The gunman was an attorney posing as a delivery driver, so that's how you get them, I guess. There was no delivery; they were just putting the packages on the front door dressed as a delivery driver. So they also talk about. She was swatted in May, and she talked about how their lives changed starting in 22. So she's been living this way now for quite some time. Someone swatted them, reporting gunshots heard at her home and someone screaming, and that her son and his friends, the teenage son, were the first to discover. They walked out of the house to see the road filled with police. And she said, I was very, very grateful that I had Supreme Court police outside my home because they were able to stop and meet with and explain to the county police that it had been a false alarm. And so the police did not actually attempt to enter our home. That's what they hope happens. They come rushing in, they destroy the house, destroy the door, and, scare the family. And that's what these people want. Why we can't find out where the call is coming from, again, beyond me. How come? I got guys in India who call me and, to talk about all sorts of stuff, and they have like vague details. So I don't buy that we don't know where these calls are coming from. And I'm just wondering if during Obama's third term that they didn't bother going after these people or finding out or prosecuting, because it was primarily the conservative justices who were being targeted, not the liberal justices. In total, the Supreme Court is requesting about $89 million to cover personal security costs. Kagan said that's necessary given that the justices have experienced a 35% increase in threats just in 2026 alone, compared to a 25% increase in threats the year prior. And she said the growth in budget for the Supreme Court is security. And I think a lot of these things in all aspects of life can be nipped in the bud and stopped by prosecuting people and showing them you're not going to get away with it. It's not going to happen. And, someone had made a point on a show that I was doing this morning. They said, why should they be better than us? If we have to live disarmed, can't have a gun or can't have concealed carry, whatever it happens to be, if we live in a state like that, why shouldn't they have to live the same way in those states as their neighbors do? Why do they get to have security? Are we saying that our politicians and the ruling elite, the political elite, are more valuable than the rest of us? Shouldn't the law apply equally to everyone? Why am I paying for private security for them when I'm not allowed to have a gun in my home? Or I can't conceal carry to protect myself when I'm out, but I'm paying for them to be protected by people when they're out. And I get it. We have made our politicians a very protected class. Again, they're working 5 days in August. And 12 days, did I say, in September? So, 5 days in August, and I think 12 days in September, because I think it was a total of 17 days. We don't get that, but we pay for that for them. We pay for those conditions for them. We pay for those work conditions for them. And maybe it's time to look at how we have elevated one certain group of people, the ruling elite, higher than the people who they're supposed to be serving. I mean, I don't want anybody to get hurt, obviously. But I don't know. It made me think. If you want to jump in, 855-839-1210 is my number. Coming up, I have some fun audio that I think will be fun because it's just so stupid. It's stupider. Maybe it'll make you feel smarter. But we'll share some of that coming up here on 1210 WPHT.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-738-9900. That's 800-738-9900. 800-738-9900.
Hi, this is Dave Barlow from Barlow Buick GMC in Woodbury, New Jersey. Baseball season is heating up, and so are the savings here at Barlow. The All-Star Buick GMC lineup is waiting for you. Leading off, the powerful GMC Sierra, built to knock expectations out of the park and be the MVP of every road trip. Visit Barlow Buick GMC this summer, where honest pricing and dedicated service are always part of the lineup, or shop 24/7 at barlowautogroup.com. Buick, exceptional by design. GMC, we are professional grade.
My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active, and it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor Portrayal.
You don't need another opinion
just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. You can now tune in to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, welcome back. Or can we just play this? Can we just play the whole song? Scenes from an Italian restaurant? All right. Tomorrow, Michael Pelka's in. Yay! Michael Pelka's in tomorrow. I'm done. I'm going to do TV for Newsmax next week, but I'm on vacation, so I will not be doing any of the radio, but I will be doing, and I will not be doing my podcast on Tuesday night, again, because I'm on vacation. We're going up with our friends and our neighbors right behind us, right there. They're coming with us, and they're bringing friends of theirs from Italy, one of whom doesn't speak any English. So this is going to be fun. So that should be interesting. So I wanted to just play some audio for you. And I think there's some video with some of them. If you want, just because I have this theory that 90% of politics it's just a play. It's nobody's real. They're playing a part. They're reading from a script. They're saying what they're supposed to say, and they're not real. Like Graham Plattner, I think was just typecast. He was just like from central casting for them from what they thought was an alpha male, right? And they didn't do a lot of research. So this is a woman. She is Haley Stevens. You may have heard this. She is running in Michigan for the Senate. She's a candidate there. And in the Senate primary, Democrats have a choice between a candidate who wants to abolish prisons and campaigns with Hassan Piker, who, of course, is not a really great person. And then this woman. Listen to this.
I am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
Dear Lord, between the accent, but you have to see her body language because it's so awkward. And it's just so... it's the only thing they just come up with these people who are just so super awkward. And I think they're awkward because they're playing a role. They're trying to relate to people because their ideas don't sell. So they can't sell. So they have to talk about, I'm going to be a fighter. I'm going to do that. You know, they have to be very nebulous about everything. You know, they can't, because they can't talk about their policies because, like I said, their policies they don't sell. They're crap. Their policies are awful. So they can't talk about their policies. Because when you tell people, I'm just going to ban prisons, well, shockingly, that doesn't really play to most people. They're like, wait, what? You're going to ban prisons? What are we going to do with people? Like, that doesn't work. So they have to just play this part and act like I'm really enthusiastic. The way she speaks, if you didn't see the video, she sounded like from when Saturday Night Live was funny and they had that character Pat, who kind of spoke like that. Pat had the accent, and Pat spoke like that, and that's exactly what she sounds like. All right, let's move on. Let's go to cut 15. This is Lupita Nyong'o. She plays Helen of Troy in The Odyssey, which is being panned horrifically because this is what happens when you try to remake something woke. So here she is. Listen to this. She was doing a press conference. Listen to this.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spent with them? Okay.
And then do you lean forward and look at him like that?
Yes, like, remember us?
Yeah. That's the dumbest thing. She was asked, what was the one thing you would ask Homer, and that's what she decided she would ask Homer. So, how do you feel about the screen time given to women? He's going to look at her and go, what the hell is screen time? He has no idea what that is. And you're judging history through today's lens. You can't do that because it makes you say stupid stuff like that. Stupid things like that. Let's go to the next one. Here she is. She's going on, and she's complaining about the story, The Odyssey, that she was just in the movie.
When you read the Iliad and the Odyssey, very little time is spent in the perspective of the women.
Right.
Right? It's told from a very masculine side of things.
Right.
But this film takes time to really consider things from the female perspective. And so we see in Helen and Clytemnestra how this war has affected them both. Yeah. And they respond to it very differently because their experience of it is very different. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that was very enriching to take the time to kind of like humanize them and consider what this time could have looked like for them.
Well, of course he didn't consider it from a woman's point of view because back in the day, women's opinion didn't matter. They couldn't swear to anything. Like they were second-class citizens. They were chattel in many cases. And so that's your problem with The Odyssey? He didn't consider it from a 2026 perspective. Shocking. All right, I'm out of here, but you know who's coming in? Stunt Brain is in this week. He's in Thursday, Friday. So Micah Pelka will be with you. Thank you so much for the time I got to spend with you. It was so much fun. Justin and Matt, thank you very, very much. Everybody have a great week. Don't get in trouble, all right? And don't embarrass me out there. I'm Mary Walter. You're listening to 1210 WPHT.
With the high price of new and used cars today, many drivers are choosing to keep their vehicles a lot longer. But with the average car now over 12 years old, most manufacturers' warranties have expired. I'm Danica Patrick. If your car is out of warranty, a single trip to the mechanic could cost you thousands. That's why smart drivers choose Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, no matter the mileage, Endurance could have your car covered for the drivetrain, electrical, AC, transmission, and more. And Endurance is with you every step of the way, from filing a claim to paying the mechanic of your choice directly. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. Call